Probably looks a whole lot warmer than it actually is here at Target Field. There's not a cloud to be found, but the feels like temperature, they used to call it wind chill, but now they call it the feels like temperature, is 23 degrees here at Target Field.
I'm not sure you're feeling much if it's 23 degrees.
Terry Francona, born in Aberdeen, South Dakota, but that doesn't mean he's not cold today. Indians have won the last 3 American League Central Division titles, and the Twins are hoping to supplant them on top of the division. Here's the Menards batting order for Cleveland. Leonis Martin leading off. Jose Ramirez, Tyler Naquin, Carlos Santana, Hanley Ramirez, Jake Bowers, Roberto Perez, Brad Miller, and Max Moroff.
Today's starting pitcher stats are brought to you by Home Furniture. We've got Jake Odorizzi on the mound for the Twins, last year's opening day starter. This year pitching the 2nd game of the year and hoping to bounce back. He wasn't satisfied with how he threw the ball last year. I think the most important thing for him is limit the walks, limit the free passes, the base runners getting on. He improved his strikeouts last year. Now he's going to improve his walk percentage, attack hitters. He's got to go up against Trevor Bauer, one of the best in the American League, so he's got to match him for pitch, get the ball to the bullpen, just like the formula they used on Thursday.
Twins out in the field have the outfield of Rosario, Buxton, and Kepler out there again today. The outfield and the infield brought to you by Northland Ford. Gonzalez at third, Polanco and Scope up the middle, Crone at first. The change is behind the plate, where Mitch Garver will do the catching today, and we might see Willians Astudillo catch in tomorrow's game. It's really a focus for any manager to try to get all the players in early, and it's more of a challenge for Rocco Baldelli because of all the off days. It's really important that Garver gets some at-bats. One pinch hitting appearance doesn't really do you much good, I wouldn't imagine. Well, the umpires are bundled up as well. Phil Cuzzy behind the plate, Tom Tishner, Adam Hammery, and Tom Hallion on the bases. Hey, it's cold, but it's clear. Right now in Kansas City, it's snowing, and the start of their game has been set back a little bit. So we will trust that wherever you're watching, it's nice and warm, and we'll see how it plays out here with the Twins hoping to go 2-0. Martin in the box, Odorizzi ready, and down and in, ball 1.
And I think if you want to let the weather affect you, you can mentally let it affect you. If you want to layer up and just say it's going to be cold, deal with it. You know, you can approach it however you want as a player, and it doesn't do you any good complaining about it because it's not going to help anything. So go out there and find a way to get it done.
In front. And it's 1-1. Well, it's the same attitude we have up here in the booth. You can complain about it, won't do any good. Just accept it. Yeah. Both announcers have to talk in the cold weather, so there's not an advantage one or the other, right?
As we're easy for us to say, bundled up. And
1-1 to Martin, and foul back 1-2. I was going to bring a space heater to put under the counter here, but I realized, well, no, I'm working with a Canadian. I don't want him to think any less of me by needing a space heater.
I wouldn't have complained if you brought a space heater.
1-2. Odorizzi, as he said in the segment with Marnie, really his troubles last year, an extension. Oh, there's a called third strike. Breaking ball over for a strikeout to start the ball game. His problems last year, an extension of problems he had the year before, his final year with the Rays.
You know, and it's every year of your career is different, and you evolve every year. You have things that happen during the season, either little injuries, you tweak a hamstring, a wrist, or whatever, and you head into the offseason with some type of plan of how you're going to get better. And I feel like Jake really had that plan set out for himself of how he was going to handle it.
Ramirez bunted in his first attempt 2 days ago, and there's even more reason to bunt here. The Twins are using 4 outfielders, and if you count Scope, the second baseman, there are 5 men in the outfield and nobody on the left side of the infield.
See, I think the argument, people say don't change your swings, don't affect, you know, don't do anything different when you're standing in the batter's box, but the point is to get on base. And your batting average is going to be higher, your on base percentage is going to be higher. If you take those free hits the other way and then teams stop playing it, you get them to move back over. Now all of a sudden it opens the field back up. So you've seen him square around. He bunted yesterday. You see him square around today. I wouldn't be surprised if his sole goal is to get on base. Why not?
And breaking ball inside 2-1. And Fascinating discussion with teammate of yours, Michael Kadires, in spring training, and he was talking about this scenario where we will see with more frequency this year 4 outfielders and 3 infielders with the bases empty, of course. 2-1 to Ramirez. The Twins undaunted, and Ramirez, until he proves that he can bunt, is going to face more of this.
And I think that the counter argument to that obviously is, if you're the Twins, you would love to see him do that every single at bat he comes up today, because it doesn't have a chance of going over the fence. A guy who hit 39 homers last year does that, you go, okay, thank you for bunting. Now you have 2 strikes and we've got you right where we want you. So it's a tough place to be in as a hitter sometimes.
Very high now, 3-2. Going back into the discussion I had with Michael Kadire, he's saying it makes sense in this day and age to have 4 outfielders and 3 infielders, because everybody's trying to hit the ball in the air. No one wants to, it seems, hit the ball on the ground anymore. Strike 3, 2 down, and Odorizzi's off to a good start. Geometrically, it makes more sense to have 4 people in the outfield because there's more territory to cover out there.
Yeah, and with nobody on base, it's something you can do. Obviously, guys on base, to have nobody on the left side of the infield, the guy who's on first base is going to be able to run around wherever he wants to. It's going to be kind of chaos out there. But with nobody on base, you can get away with playing that type of defense. And then you enticed Ramirez into trying to bunt 2 pitches. He fouls him off, and then you strike him out. He only got 1 swing in that at bat, as opposed to having 3 chances to hit the ball over the ballpark. You kind of talked him into playing into your game plan right there. And we'll see if Ramirez continues to approach it that way, or if he finally just says, forget it, I'm going to swing as many times as I can. Where the ball goes, it goes. I'm going to hit it as hard as I can.
Strike 1 to Naquin with 4 infielders and 3 outfielders. Foul back, 2 strikes.
But I mean, you talk to a guy, even Jim Thome, a guy who hit over 600 home runs. You talk to different guys, and not one guy will say to do the same thing. I mean, some guys will say, okay, try and hit it over there if there's nobody there. Go ahead, get the bunt down, or take your 3 swings and see if you can hit it over the fence. And I think more of today's players say, I'm going to take my 3 swings and see if I can hit it over the fence.
0-2 to Tyler Naquin. Indians playing without Francisco Lindor, without Jason Kipnis. Their lineup really a shell of what it was for most of the season last year, with so many other players departing through one means or another. Michael Brantley no longer with the Indians. He's with the Astros. And Naquin strikes out. And Odorizzi strikes out the side in a 1-2-3 first inning. Welcome back to Target Field. Jake Odorizzi striking out the side in a quick 1-2-3 top of the first inning. And the Twins will take their swings against a very talented right-hander again today in Trevor Bauer. The Menards batting order for the Twins very similar to what they put out there on Thursday afternoon. Max Kepler leading off, then Jorge Polanco, Nelson Cruz, Eddie Rosario, C.J. Cron, Marwin Gonzalez, Jonathan Scope, Garver catching and hitting 8th instead of Castro, and Byron Buxton hitting 9th.
And today's starting pitcher stats are brought to you by Home Furniture. We got Trevor Bauer, set career high in strikeouts last year, had a great season. He's looking to build on that. He talked about how he tried to improve his changeup this offseason, so the Twins left-handed hitters will probably see more of those today. But you know, his bread and butter is that overhand curveball that he really feels comfortable throwing.
Fastball sailing high and wide. It's a mid-90s fastball, a wicked curveball, one of the best in the league. 1-0 to Kepler. Popped up near the backstop. Perez didn't see it right away, but it's out of play. 1-1. Official first pitch temperatures 34 degrees. The coldest game to ever be played here was just a little less than a year ago. Remember, the Twins had 3 games snowed out against the White Sox. They had to play the 1 game on a Thursday because they knew the blizzard was coming. And the first pitch temperature for that game, 27 degrees.
So this is nothing today then.
No. Wind from the north. Popped up again. Chased by Ramirez in foul ground. He lost it, found it, made the catch on the warning track. 1 away. 1 down. It'll bring up Jorge Polanco. Defense for the Indians brought to you by Northland Ford. Jake Bowers in left, Leonis Martin in center, Tyler Naquin is in right. Ramirez more off in the absence of Lindor on the left side of the infield. Santana and Miller in the absence of Kipnis at second base. And Roberto Perez behind the plate. Here is Polanco. Big swing and a miss, one strike.
I think something to watch for with Trevor Bauer, how effective he is pitching with his fastball up in the zone. That makes his curveball that much more effective. For a curveball to be a strike, it's got to start around your letters, and that's how you get those chases on the high fastballs.
Fastball and a foul back.
And if he's able to establish that, then all of a sudden the Twins hitters are looking up in the zone for that breaking ball, and you throw that fastball. It's just too late by the time you've made up your mind to swing. And that's really where he's effective, is pitching up in the zone. It makes that breaking ball so much better. And then on the other side of that, he's also able to throw his curveball for a strike, and he's able to bounce it almost like he throws it right on top of the plate. And it's hard to tell as a hitter when that ball's actually going to break with a guy who has that much command of his curveball.
I like the way you explained it in the pregame. He throws, would you say, with conviction, all his pitches with conviction. In other words, the body torque, the arm motion is the same for all of his pitches, and then you've got the speed differential and the big breaking ball.
Yeah, exactly. The conviction is the biggest thing. It's kind of like with Johan's changeup. You know, Santana, he threw max effort, he jumped at you, and I think that's part of it. Part of his deception with Bauer is that he almost seems like he's jumping at you, he's coming at you fast, everything's coming fast, and then all of a sudden by the time you pick up what it is, it's an 87-mile-an-hour changeup instead of a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And some guys, they'll give something away before the ball even leaves their hand. You can tell they've slowed their body down as they're trying to slow the pitch down, and it makes that changeup. You're aware that something different is coming, and it can, even before the ball is released, you're already aware that it's not going to be a fastball. And Bauer's the opposite of that. He throws everything as hard as he can, and max effort, he's coming right at you, and you have a hard time picking up the ball, as that also comes out of the same release point as something that he said he's made a conscious effort of throwing his fastball, his curveball, his changeup from, you know, where his hand comes over his shoulder, where you try to pick up the ball as a hitter. He throws everything out of the same spot, or his goal is to try and throw everything out of the same spot, which makes picking up the ball, the rotation, the spin, everything else difficult.
Off the end of the bat by Cruz, and it's 1-2. Bit of an adjustment here for Nelly Cruz. And the other teams he's played for, it was never this cold in Seattle or Baltimore or Texas for that matter. But he's typically enjoyed hitting in this ballpark. Checked his swing. 2-2.
And he's done a great job of becoming basically a full-time DH. You know, we go a lot of National League games early. We're probably going to see him in the outfield, but I think sometimes it's actually easier to be a DH in a game like this. You can go underneath in the tunnel, you can go in the heat, you can ride the bike to stay warm. You know, if you're an outfielder, you're standing out there for a 20-minute inning. You know, that can really affect you, and then you're leading off the next inning. All of a sudden, you haven't had a chance to warm up, and that can affect your at-bat as a DH. You go in there, you make sure you're warm, you pop out of the dugout, you go up and take your at-bat, and it actually can be an advantage to be a designated hitter on a day like today.
3-2 to Cruz. Rosario on deck. It's hit to right. And reaching catch by Tyler Naquin. Pretty well hit ball. And a 1-2-3 first for Bauer.
The Indians come to bat in the top of the second inning at Target Field, and here is your scoop from the clubhouse. Jake Odorizzi said that he had a really productive spring and especially worked on his off-speed stuff, that he worked on a few different grips, played around with some stuff to improve the quality, especially of his off-speed. And Rocco Baldelli put Mitch Garver behind the plate today and talked about, with this team having 3 catchers, that you almost have to get creative to find ways to get these guys in there, especially with these off days early in the season. It's pretty easy for a catcher to go more than a week without playing if the Twins don't make it a point to get these guys in there. And speaking of the catchers, with 3 on the roster. That includes Willens, Astudillo, Jason Castro. Baldelli said there's a lot of factors that go into who the catcher is. It's who is our pitcher, who is their pitcher, how many at-bats has this catcher gotten. So many analytics will go into choosing the catcher. And guys, that'll be something that's really interesting to watch as we go on. If the Twins keep these 3 catchers, who plays on which game and why?
Yeah, Marnie, it was interesting in listening to Rocco this morning. Tapper right side Santana as his ground ball picked off by Polanco. He's thrown out. He almost made it sound like there was as much thought given to who will start behind the plate as on the mound. It really was interesting to see how they're going to try to map this out days in advance so the catchers know, much like a starting pitcher would know, all right, I've got Tuesday night's game in Kansas City, so on and so forth.
And I think it's important for the catcher to be aware of that as opposed to just showing up and all of a sudden knowing, because you can do video work, you can game plan, you can go, okay, how do we pitch this guy the last time we played him, and how am I going to approach this? And you look at your pitcher's strengths, you look at all these kind of things, and the catcher's as responsible for coming up with a game plan, and sometimes more responsible than the pitcher. Some guys just want to be out there and look down and say, okay, he put a 2 down, I'm throwing a curveball. Okay, put a 1 down, I'm throwing a fastball, and put trust in the catcher. When the catcher has that time to prepare, the pitcher will put a lot more trust in him, saying, okay, I know he spent his time on this, he's done his homework, he's behind the plate, he's putting down a fastball in this count for a reason, because as opposed to just putting fingers down and hoping it works out, he's looking at every pitch going, okay, this is the pitch to throw in this count, and you put trust in the catcher when he has time to prepare like that.
I think we saw that Thursday. I don't recall Barrios shaking Castro off throughout the day at all yesterday. It might have happened, but just a couple of times.
And you see it a lot, you know, guys are out there, no, it kills the rhythm. Fielders start standing around, the infielders start kicking the dirt, eating sunflower seeds, and when you're able to work quick and be on the same page as your catcher and everything's going at a good rate, everyone's involved in the game, the pitcher's confident in the guy behind the plate, and everything works well.
Speaking of being on the same page, half of mine blew out of the booth here in the last gust of wind, so I think it was the Cleveland note, so
I'll take care of those.
2-2. Odorizzi struck out the side in the first, got a weak ground ball to start the second inning, and now 2-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Up and in, 3-2. After every pitch, pitchers blowing into their hands, trying to restore a little tackiness of an arid, cold day.
I always felt like the pitchers had an advantage in a day like today, though, because they're moving around, they have the ball, they control the pace, they're out there in their, you know, max effort. The fielders are kind of standing around.
Poked foul.
And the pitcher's moving the whole time. Their body heat, you know, it doesn't really ever leave them because they're moving, and then they go in the dugout, they sit in front of the heater, they put a jacket on, you know. Hitter comes up, we got Crone or hitting next inning, and he's going to go straight from there, try and warm his hands up for about 5 seconds, and then stand on the on-deck circle. So it's a little different being a hitter, and you know, the pitchers would say it's tough to have feel. You don't have the same grip on your off-speed stuff. I feel like it affects them more, but I don't know. I don't think anyone's feeling sorry for anybody today, though. You still get to play baseball, and you just deal with it.
Just got a piece of it to stay alive. Well, hitters, of course, never want to get jammed, whether it's in July or in March, but particularly on a day like today. And all I know about pitchers is they're a sadistic bunch, and they love to jam hitters on days like today.
Watch them running up the first base line, shaking their hands. And
another 3-2 to Hanley Ramirez. And he missed up high. And a walk goes to Ramirez with 1 out here in the second inning.
We got today's Pizza Ranch for the win. Quality pitching, timely hitting. Jake Odorizzi's up against one of the best right-handers in the league, Trevor Bauer. He's got to match him pitch for pitch. And then you've got timely hitting is important. We saw it the other day. Cold days, ball's not going to be carrying, the wind's blowing in. You need to get those big hits. Those opportunities are there. Marwin Gonzalez had the big hit in the first game. Get guys on base, keep it simple, broken bats. Sometimes they'll get the job done and then come through in the clutch and get the guys in.
Here's Jake Bowers. Missing low. Bowers, the outfielder, has an S at the end of his name. The starting pitcher does not. Bowers and then Perez. Time called as Ramirez is taking care of a pant leg. You want to make sure those pant legs are pulled down for a little extra layer of warmth. 1-0 to Bowers. Squaring and bunting foul with the Twins in a pull shift.
Well, it's so enticing just to look out there and see that open spot. But if you the first time you're trying to bunt, you know, if you didn't work on it in the spring because you're trying to, you know, they say, why don't you bunt 10 times in spring training? You say, well, I'm going to get 40 at bats, so how am I going to find my timing if I'm up there trying to bunt all the time? Well, if you're going to do it in the regular season, you should probably do it in spring training, and in the minor leagues would be really good.
Big pop up right side. Scope calls for it. Well, it gives you some idea of how resolute the Twins are in shifting Bowers. You know, we saw it in the 7th inning Thursday. The biggest danger is things bunching together in an inning. The Twins got a couple of broken bat hits, then the 2-run double, and that was pretty much the ball game. Now you've had a 1-out walk, and you're still shifting Bowers, giving him a bunt single if he can put it down, and enhancing the chances that the Indians would be able to bunch something together.
Yeah, as opposed to having first and second. After a simple little bunt into the shift, you got 2 outs and you got a runner on first. Now it's going to take an extra base hit to score him. So, you know, there's a big thing there that stringing innings together is become more difficult with the amount of swinging and missing, how good the pitchers are, how good their stuff is. So a simple way, and everyone says, okay, you're just bunting. It's easy. It's not easy to bunt 95 miles an hour. It's not like you just go up there and it's a lot easier than hitting. You have to get a strike, you have to get something you're looking for, and then you have to be able to place it where you want. So it's not as simple as it sounds, but it's just so open and enticing to look at it.
On the outside corner now, 0-2. Well, the math will tell you that it makes sense to do the shifting, even the simplest of math problems. In the game Thursday, not counting the bunt by Ramirez, there were 8 ground ball outs and 23 fly ball outs,
which makes the 4-man outfield make a lot more sense too.
Exactly. Yeah. Now some of those are infield pop-ups, but you know, the point is the ball. People talk about the high frequency of strikeouts. It's the other outs that, as much as anything else, create the shifts. The fly ball outs and the ball being hit in the air like never before. 0-2 to Perez. Breaking ball just missed, and Odorizzi took a step toward the dugout. He thought he hit the corner.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good pitch. From my angle, I think it's something he's going to want as this game goes on.
Ooh.
I think if that's a fastball coming into that part of the strike zone, it calls it a strike. A breaking ball, it just tricks you. Your eyes follow it down a little bit, and you just miss it. It looks like it misses the bottom of the zone, but it looked like he caught it.
Now up high, 2-2.
I think to the other point, though, you know, the ground ball outs, the fly ball outs, if I hit the ball to the right side of the field and every time I hit it on the ground I'm out, shouldn't I try and make an adjustment and do something different? It makes sense if they're playing three guys on the right side. It's either you try and hit a single the other way or you just try and hit it over the shift, and most guys are trying to hit it over the shift.
And now full count. Ramirez, who walked on a 3-2 pitch earlier this inning, will take off from first. And Crone will hold him on at first regardless. Indians, or the Twins rather, playing Perez pretty straight up in the infield and the outfield. Brad Miller, the veteran, on deck. Ramirez goes. Pop up down the right field line. Kepler with the wind blowing it away from him, and it blows it out of play. The wind blowing pretty sharply from the left field foul pole to the right field pole, and it looked like the wind, as much as anything else, helped carry that ball off the field of play.
There's something interesting for me that I just noticed from our vantage point up here, seeing C.J. Crone holding on Ramirez at first base to keep him close, to stop him from scoring, stop him from getting a big jump. A lot of times with a right-handed hitter, you play behind, you take away that hole, almost like a shift as a right-handed, you know, for the right-handed hitters, but he's holding them on to try and keep him close, keep him from scoring on a ball in the gap.
And there's a swing and a miss. Odorizzi pitches around a 1-out walk, and we're scoreless here at Target Field. No hits on the board again here this afternoon so far. And Eddie Rosario will lead off the second, and he's the subject of our AARP take on today. He's had pretty good numbers over the years against Trevor Bauer. .333 average, having scored 7 and driven in 9.
And that's quite a few at-bats to have good numbers off a guy. You know, sometimes you get fooled with a 2 for 6 or a 3 for 9 that doesn't really tell you a whole lot, but that's quite a few at-bats, and when you're seeing a guy that well, you can't wait for him to get out on the mound.
Foul, 1 strike. Thursday, it was Marwin Gonzalez who had good numbers entering the game against Corey Kluber, and wouldn't you know it was Gonzalez who got the big hit against Kluber, driving in a couple of runs. So we'll see if that plays out again here today with Rosario facing Bauer. 0-2 with an off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss.
And I think sometimes something that plays into that as a hitter and as a pitcher, you know, he's an ace. So if you're facing a number 5 starter, sometimes they pitch around the middle of the lineup. When you're hitting the middle of the lineup, sometimes guys don't really challenge you. And I think this is a good matchup because Trevor Bauer's trying to challenge Rosario. He thinks he can get him out with any pitch he throws. And Rosario's a good hitter. This is one of those matchups that you like to watch because it's, you know, the best against the best, the middle of the lineup against, you know, their number 2 starter.
Big fly ball down the right field line, and the wind should help push that into the seats as well.
Kind of felt the same way against left-handed relievers. You know, they come in, their job is to get you out, and you felt like, or at least I felt like they were going to challenge me a little bit more than I'm facing a righty with 2 outs in a tie ball game. There's a base open. That's a little different approach for a pitcher and for a hitter, but when those guys are coming at you, you're ready to hit, you're up for that challenge, and you want to face the best. You want to prove yourself against the best, and he's done that so far in his career off Bauer.
1-2 to right field, tracking it is Naquin. 1 down, and that'll bring up C.J. Cron. Game of Thrones is coming to Target Field Friday, April 12th. A limited number of Game of Thrones theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and Game of Thrones Twins flag. Go to twinsbaseball.com/GOT to learn more about the Game of Thrones theme night offer. Here is Cron. Got a base hit in the 2-run 7th inning Thursday afternoon, and he takes a strike over the inside corner. One thing, when you're facing Bauer, you'd better make good with what you get, because you typically don't get much. Coming into the game today, he's had a run of 53 starts in a row where he's given up 4 runs or less.
Wow.
Now that's essentially almost 2 seasons worth where there hasn't been a big number put up against him early, and he's come out of the game early, and it sounds like an impressive number. At least I was impressed by it. Then you realize the record in that stat, Greg Maddux, twice as many, 106 starts in a row. Pulled foul. 106 starts in a row where he gave up 4 runs or less in a start.
Anytime you're in a pitching conversation and Greg Maddux comes up, you're doing something right. But I think 4 seasons worth, or I guess with Maddux pitch, probably 3 seasons worth of starts like that is amazing.
2-2 to Cron, and he doesn't chase the breaking pitch in front of the plate. 3-2 with Gonzalez on deck. And a high fastball got him, 2 down.
And that's that high fastball we talked about earlier. He's able to throw the breaking ball, down. You got a curveball in the back of your mind, because you know he can throw his breaking ball at any point in any count, and he runs it up there, and you just can't lay off. By the time you realize it's a fastball and it's out of the zone, you already committed it, and you're walking back to the dugout.
Here is Marwin Gonzalez, got the 2-run double against Kluber, lead the Twins to their win Thursday. Away, ball 1, and I'm sure for Terry Francona, the Indians players who were around in the playoffs last year, and the Indians fans who were watching, it was a case of deja vu. with Gonzalez doing it to the Indians again. He had a great ALDS against the Indians. Cleveland lost in 3 games to Houston. And Marwin Gonzalez was 7 for 13 in that series that only lasted 3 games. And he got maybe the biggest hit in games 2 and 3, and they were each 2-run doubles. And so what's he do to the Indians here on Thursday? He gets the biggest hit of the game, a 2-run double. Out in front, and it's 1 and 2.
And you always say, you know, that was last year, we moved on, but that flashback comes quick when something like that happens. You go, this guy again, we can't get away from him. We ended our season against him, and then we started against him, and he ends up with a big hit again. You can't escape it sometimes.
1 and 2 to Gonzalez with 2 gone here in the Twins' second. And Gonzalez takes a called 3rd strike. And a couple of 1-2-3 innings for Trevor Bauer. In Thursday's game, Jose Barrios was brilliant, and he'll join us from the Twins dugout in the 3rd. Marwin Gonzalez drove in a couple of runs. Jose Barrios didn't give up any, and the Twins won the opener 2-0. And Jose's nice enough to join us. Is the dugout heated? Are you warm enough down there?
Yeah, we got heater. Our seats got qualified too. So, but when you pumping on excited to watch the baseball again, no matter how's the weather, you're gonna have fun.
That's good ball talk right there.
Congratulations. It was just fun to watch you pitch. And I asked Wes Johnson today about how many changeups you threw, and he said he counted 18 changeups that you threw. And I told him I think last year that might have been a month's worth of changeups for you.
yeah, that's what we talking about this spring. The many change I throw last year against righty and lefty is less than, I don't know, maybe like 18 or 20%. I think it's much, but yeah, 2 days ago, I was really good, confident with the changeup, with the pitch, and I throw it, I believe it, and I make the hitter out.
So when you're going into a game plan, do you say, if I'm going to throw 100 pitches today, my goal is to throw 20 changeups or 15 to 20 changeups, or do you just go based on feel? I mean, because your breaking ball, is your out pitch and the pitch you're going to go to when you're in trouble. If your breaking ball is working that day, are you going to say, we're going to scrap the changeup, or do you say, okay, I have to throw this many changeups today to be effective?
Like I don't really like the count, like the total per game, but it depends on the situation. So last year I had a lot of situations to throw it, but I don't have a lot of confidence, so that's why I threw too many last year. But this year we've been working in that during spring. So last 2 days ago, that's what I did when I see the situation to throw the changeup. I did it, and we got a really good result.
That was the impressive thing, not just the amount, but the quality of the pitches and the counts in which you threw them. 3-1 to Carlos Santana. He's thinking fastball, and you got him on a little pop-up on the changeup.
Yeah. That's. I know that they always looking for my fastball and the slider or breaking ball, whatever they want to call. But we got a plan. We throw changeup against Ramirez too. 2-0. We throw, and he hit a fly ball to shortstop. So I'm so happy when I do that 2 days ago.
And I think that was the pitch of the game for me, was that 2-0 changeup. And knowing that you put the work in on it, you have confidence in it, that tells everyone, I think, that you have confidence in that pitch, and it's something that hitters need to be aware of. Now they can't just key on 2 pitches. They got to look for 3 pitches, and that makes it so much harder as a hitter to do. I thought that was the best pitch you threw the entire game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the reason.
3 straight strikeouts now for Odorizzi. I speculated, Jose, that you might have shaken off Jason Castro once or twice, but I don't remember that ever happened. Did you shake him off at all?
Just only 2 pitches.
2 pitches?
Yeah. 2 breakable, and that's it. And we throw for strike. I say, good job.
But that means a lot, doesn't it? I mean, you threw almost 100 pitches. You only shook off the catcher twice. It's nice to be out there being on the same page with him, right?
Yeah. We got a really good plan. We got a really good, I would say, like report of the hitter, and we studied yesterday, the day before, and the game day. Then we go out there and just execute our plan.
We don't know when your next start is going to be. It might be in Kansas City. It might be in Philadelphia. But in Philadelphia, if it's in Philadelphia, you get a chance to swing the bat. You looking forward to that, maybe?
You know, I was thinking about it, and it's really, really scary because the weather is cold right now. I don't want to take a bat and swing the ball.
Hey, congratulations again. What a wonderful way to get the season started, and we're looking forward to your next start, whenever it is.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys still enjoy our game.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a great outing by Barrios, and Odorizzi trying to follow that up with another one here, and he's off to a real good start. He issued a 1-out walk to Ramirez on a 3-2 pitch in the second. First time through the batting order. He has struck out 6. And the count now to Leonis Martin is 2-1. Two. That's interesting. We were just talking about hitters not wanting to get jammed and the influence of cold weather. Barrios loves to hit, but even he might not want to hit if it's really cold in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the last thing he wants is to make the third out of an inning and break a bat and then go out there and not be able to feel while he's trying to pitch. So if I was him, I'd just take and hope for a walk.
Or hope you get the start in Kansas City. 2-2. And now full count with Jose Ramirez on deck. 46 pitches for Odorizzi, 29 strikes. Strike percentage of 63. And the last thing he wants is to put Martin aboard with Ramirez on deck. And he missed outside. So another 3-2 walk. And Ramirez will come to the plate, and we'll see how the Twins play Ramirez here with a man at first. They'll be going with just a 3-man outfield. And Gonzalez this time will be in the middle of the left side of the infield.
And you have to keep him on that side of the field in case Martin steals a base, ball in the dirt, whatever it is. If he gets to second, you have to have someone be able to cover third. You don't want to rely on the pitcher having to know exactly where every single guy's standing on the infield. You want him to be able to execute his pitches and not have to worry too much about what's going on behind him. So you have to keep him over there and stop that guy from going to third.
Just barely getting back. Odorizzi showing some quick feet, and he nearly picked off Martin. Expect the Indians to do a lot of running. They don't have the power they've had in other years. They led the American League in stolen bases last year and figure to hope to be leading in that area again this year.
Martin, I don't know. He give him a chance to give the Twins a little extra time to look at that replay by putting on his sliding pad. And all of a sudden the Twins get a good 10-12 looks in the clubhouse to see if they actually wanted to replay that, to see if it was a reviewable play. It was interesting to watch.
And dug out by Garver, ball 1. I don't know whether it's just an illusion, but in the years I've been doing this in cold weather games like this, it just seems like runners aren't as fast as they would be normally. Is that true or not?
I was never fast, so I don't know.
It just seems like they're running slower.
I think there might be something to that, where it's colder, your body's not as loose, and you maybe don't feel as comfortable taking off or running, so you're less likely to run. But I mean, guys have so many layers on. You have the long johns or whatever you want to call them underneath your pants. I mean, I used to go like almost head to toe in the hot stuff and put hot,
and Crone again with a swipe tag, and he nearly put the tag on Martin before he got back to the bag. And the Twins are going to look at this one. Yeah. Rocco Baldelli's signal is his left fist extended.
Safe.
Yeah, he got back.
Yeah, so I'd put that red hot, cover my legs, and then you don't notice the cold because you got hot stuff on. It doesn't really affect you that much, I don't feel like, but I wasn't a guy that had to steal bases, so it's easy for me to say.
1-1 to Ramirez. Swung on and missed. Well, the other day, it was pretty warm. It was about 50 degrees. But Buxton on his double, he looked human.
I think he got to second in the time it would have taken me to get to first, but I'm not going to comment on that speed.
1-2. From Odorizzi to Ramirez, who went down swinging his first time up. To center. Buxton over a few steps. Puts it away. The Indians have the only 2 base runners thanks to a couple of walks, but nobody's touched second base yet today. No score going to the bottom of the 3rd. Jonathan Scope will lead things off for the Twins as they try to get their first base runner against Trevor Bauer. Tough news for the Brewers. Jeremy Jeffress already on the injured list with a bad shoulder, and the decision made yesterday by Corey Knebel and his medical people to undergo Tommy John surgery. He's the subject of our Sanford Health injury report.
And that's a interesting topic of discussion. You know, people wonder why bullpens don't get used in the regular season the way they do in the playoffs. And that Brewers bullpen was used as much as anybody last year. And now you see 2 of their best relievers not active at the start of the season. You wonder if it relates back to that or not. I mean, I'm sure they could do a study and figure that out. But, you know, immediately you look at it and go, okay, there's a reason that's not sustainable. There's a reason teams don't do that in the regular season.
Right. 1-1. Trevor Bauer unfazed by the weather in short sleeves. Fastball gets a swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Scope, Garver, and Buxton here in the Twins' 3rd. Breaking ball gets a swing and a miss. And for Bauer, his 4th strikeout. Bring up Mitch Garver. Girls on the Run is an after-school program like no other. For 10 weeks, girls will make friends, increase their physical activity levels, and learn important life skills. Coaches lead girls through interactive lessons and running activities. All girls in 3rd through 8th grade are welcome to register for the spring season. Learn more at www.gotrtwincities.org. And now the catcher, Mitch Garver. And he takes strike 1.
I think we've seen Bauer doing a great job of mixing his pitches, but also mixing them and locating them. It's one thing to just throw 4 different pitches up there and not have an idea where they're going. He's been able to command all parts of the strike zone with all his pitches. He's mixed in the cutter, the slider, throwing the high fastball, and it really keeps you off balance as a hitter. You're trying to figure out what zone or what speed or, you know, location, whatever you want to do to lock in on, and he just really doesn't allow you to do that. He doesn't throw you the same pitch 2 pitches in a row very often, and he doesn't throw it the same location twice in a row very often. And you should say, okay, that should be easy. If he throws me a fastball in, I should look for something away, or if he throws me away, look in. But it's not that simple when you have up, down, in, out. It's a lot of area to cover. So he's almost one of those guys where you're better off approaching, saying, I'm going to get 3 at-bats off him today. I'm going to look middle away the entire game, or I'm going to look middle in the entire game, and hope one of those 3 at-bats works out and you do damage, extra base hit, homer, double, whatever it is, and give yourself a chance to hit throughout 3 at-bats, look big picture instead of each at-bat, trying to go back and forth, and you get yourself caught looking in, he throws you away, and just say, okay, it might cost me 2 at-bats, but if I do damage in that 1 at-bat, a 1 for 3 off one of the best pitchers in the league is a pretty good day.
And Bauer losing his footing a little bit, firing that in front of the left-handed batter's box, 3-2.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, I guess, is that the essence of being a guess hitter? You're guessing or looking for one pitch in one spot and hope that eventually you get it?
I wouldn't say it. You wouldn't.
Tapper left side, and Ramirez fires across to get Garver. 2 down.
I wouldn't say that's guessing, because you're not just going to guess on the pitch. You're going to have, you know, you're going to look at it and go, okay, in a 1-0, a 2-1, a 3-1 count, he throws 65% fastballs, and most of those fastballs are away. So if you get yourself into that count, you look for the pitch he's most likely to throw, and you key in on that. So you say, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 pitches this at bat. If I get myself in any one of those counts, the most likely pitch is going to be this, and you look for that. You know, it's not necessarily guessing. It's guessing if you have nothing to back it up.
Fastball up high to Buxton.
But if you have a reason and you have numbers that tell you, hey, this is probably going to happen, it's the same thing you play, same reason you play shifts. Guys most likely going to hit it to the right side of the infield, so you put 3 guys there. Why not hit the same way? Why not say, okay, it's a 2-0 count. The guy's probably 80% chance he's going to throw me a fastball. Why would you look for anything other than a fastball, right? So it's kind of along those lines of you're going to get 3 at-bats. He's going to throw you a fastball away at some point. Make sure you don't miss it and give yourself a chance to hit it. I mean, it's tough to give up those other 2 at-bats, and you're not giving them up. You're still battling, but you just don't want to miss that one that he actually gives you to hit.
Quick breaking ball hit the outside corner, 1-2 to Buxton.
We'll take a look at this. It's frustrating as a hitter on a day like today that's already cold and ball's not carrying, wind's blowing in from left, and then you get a pitch that you know is a strike, or not a strike, and you try not to let that affect the rest of your at-bat. And you say, okay, I've now just got to battle. I got to find a way to get on base right here because he's tough today. The zone's a little big. Stay in the zone, stay on my pitch, stay aggressive.
2-2 from Bauer to Buxton. And he got him. A perfect first trip through the order for Trevor Bauer. And we head to the 4th scoreless.
Let's take a look at our big story in baseball from last night. The Cardinals made an off-season acquisition of Paul Goldschmidt, and it looks like this might work out for the Cardinals. Goldschmidt hit 3 home runs yesterday against the Brewers, had 5 RBI in his 2nd game with the Cardinals. Goldschmidt's the first player in MLB history to hit 3 home runs in either his 1st or 2nd game with a team, and the Cardinals beat the Brewers 9-5. Dick and Justin Goldschmidt also had a single in this game, and he was close to a 4th home run. It just kind of looped foul, but what a start for Paul Goldschmidt and the St. Louis Cardinals.
And then in his last plate appearance, he was intentionally walked.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see him go. Nothing against the baseball fans in Arizona, but St. Louis is known as a great baseball town, and to see one of the best players in the game. He's been a very consistent, very good baseball player for a long time, and now he gets to change divisions and go play somewhere else where, you know, they can't get enough baseball. It's good to see him get off to a good start after the trade, and then he signs an extension.
Right.
You know, you like to see guys who play the game the right way, go out there and go about their business and, you know, be successful.
1-1 to Tyler Naquin, the leadoff batter for the Indians in the 4th inning. Fouled back 1-2. Well, Goldschmidt should succeed in St. Louis. They've had a pretty good history of getting players who starred elsewhere and then seem to be revived a bit in St. Louis. Jim Edmonds, Mark McGuire, Matt Holliday, another one, seemed to extend his career in the wonderful baseball community of St. Louis. And another strikeout for Odorizzi.
And I know it's early, and that's what you say if things are going bad, but when things are going good and you put in this work in the offseason, you put a focus on something you want to improve at. He's done that, and then when you come out and actually it translates to game results, you get out of spring training, you have that first start, and you want to see how things are working. Well, it's been working very well for him so far.
Carlos Santana put the ball in play. He rolled weakly to the right side to lead off the 2nd inning. And Odorizzi misses low ball 1. They're underway in Kansas City. They've had very cold temperatures there and snow flurries throughout the morning and early afternoon, but they're underway at Kauffman Stadium.
As long as those are gone by Tuesday, we'll be good.
Twins go to Kansas City after the ball game here tomorrow. We'll work out at Kauffman Stadium Monday, and then we've got a couple of games there. Then we go to Philadelphia and New York to play the Mets. Popped up short left field. Rosario coming in, and it is Gonzalez, the 3rd baseman, making the catch. 2 down. 2 down in the 4th. Let's get a word from TD Ameritrade.
Tough trade got you in a pickle? Make the right call with TD Ameritrade's trade desk. I'd do it, but time's hard.
And truth be told, that was more like 17, 18 words, but you get the idea. 2 down, and now Hanley Ramirez drew a walk, was left at first base in the 2nd inning. temperature is actually supposed to be pretty moderate for early April in Kansas City, Philadelphia, and New York.
This division can be tough on you early. I think that was one of the biggest adjustments moving out of the Metrodome, moving outside. We knew going to Detroit, going to Kansas City, Cleveland early it could be cold, but we knew when we were at home it was going to be 72 degrees.
Right.
Game was going to start at 7:07 or whatever it was, and you know, you can go from there, and it's a little bit of adjustment. But even days today that are cold, I'd rather be outside in the sun, and this is how baseball is supposed to be played.
2-0 to Ramirez. And missing down and away, 3-0 with Jake Bauers on deck. Well, you just look at it geographically and the way they've broken up the divisions in baseball. There are 10 teams in the 2 central divisions. 5 in the National League, 5 in the American League. That's a deep blast to left, and Ramirez has just plated the first run of the year for the Indians. Green lighted on 3-0, and a blast into the second deck. It's 1-0 Cleveland.
This is what made him so good for so long, and as soon as he hit it, he knew that he got it. There's a big sigh of relief on that entire Indians bench going, we finally scored a run. Now they hope that it becomes contagious and they get to do that with everybody else. But you know, this is something, they carried him on the roster coming out of spring training for a reason, and he didn't miss that 3-0 fastball, and you watch him drop his bat. As soon as that ball leaves his bat, there's no better feeling in baseball than that feeling right there as a hitter.
Hitters say that when you hit them that good, you don't even feel it.
Especially today.
Yeah. Jake Bauers, and down and in a ball.
But it's just so pure. It feels effortless. It feels like, it's hard to describe because it's so different than any other ball you hit. You know as soon as you make contact, and sometimes even as the barrel's coming through, you see that ball coming in, and you know that it's got a chance to leave the ballpark. And when it does, it feels so good.
Open away now, 2-0. Odorizzi having a hard time finishing off the 4th inning by throwing strikes, and Garver will use a trip to the mound. Anyway, we were talking about geography in baseball in the central divisions. 10 teams in the 2 divisions, and it's the area of the country that is most impacted by March and early April weather. And there's one dome stadium in Milwaukee. That's the only one of those 10 teams that has the protection of a roof. So it's not just here in Minnesota. It's Kansas City, Cleveland, Detroit, Pittsburgh,
Cincinnati,
yeah. 2-0, and now 3-0.
Yeah, it's part of life, though. You know, I think for the people that live here and spend the winters here, this is beautiful. After
that's right,
minus 30 wind chill,
yeah.
You go out there on a day like today, you're happy to be outside.
There's a strike. Well, I spent my off day yesterday doing a Minnesota type of thing. I stashed away all my ice fishing stuff. Now, you know.
And I made maple syrup, so there you go.
You did yesterday? Good. The sap is running then?
The sap is running. It's you figure a Canadian maple syrup, but the first time I ever did it was last year, my first winter living in Minnesota. So it doesn't get cold enough in Vancouver really to do it, but it's a very Minnesotan and northern thing to do. So.
Full count to Jake Bauers. And fastball away, got a swinging strike 3, but not until Ramirez put the Indians up 1-0. Well, now pitching with a 1-0 lead. The Twins don't have a base runner yet against Trevor Bauer. Dick Bramer along with Justin Morneau. Justin's got his insulated batting gloves. Were those game used? Did you use those in a game?
I think I did.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, these are the best gloves you can have. I mean, you can still function with them. Everyone says that hunts, they like to hunt in these gloves.
Right. I still got some of Kent Herbeck's batting gloves that I go pheasant hunting with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these things got me through it, and I'd wear them. We'd start the season on the road. If I started well, I'd wear these cold weather things in the dome too. Not that I was superstitious as a player, but
I got the mittens.
Yeah, he can drive a snowmobile. I can still hit a baseball with these things.
Second time through the batting order, and Max Kepler will lead things off. Twins down a run. Kepler fouled out to Ramirez his first time up.
Yeah, Yeah, these things, if it was a good start.
Another pop up near third base. Ramirez crosses the line again and makes the catch in foul ground nearly on top of the third base bag. One down. You can receive an all-season access for the Twins for just one low monthly price. The Twins Pass provides you access to every 2019 regular season game in your choice of 3 Target Field locations, starting at just $49 a month. Visit twinsbaseball.com/twinspass for details. Here's Jorge Polanco now swinging his first time up.
Well, as I was saying about these batting gloves, it could be the middle of May. My hands would be sweating, but if I felt like they still had hits in them, I'd still use them. So they were, these things got me through some good days.
So you were a superstitious ball player. Is that fair to say?
I've heard that.
Okay. Well, give me some other superstition.
Oh, boy. What, we got 5 innings left in this game?
Really? That much of a superstitious guy?
Well, you know what? After I left here, it got a lot better.
Okay.
Because I was able to build in my routine gradually, and all these things started to come in. And when I left, I just had to adjust. I went to Pittsburgh in the middle of the season, and everyone had their routine. So like I couldn't get in the cage at a certain time, and I had to work around everyone else and just try and be part of the group. And here I was established. I was here so long that cage rights. Joe was ahead of me.
There's a drive to right center field, hit pretty well towards the gap. Naquin chasing it. It is off the wall. Rounding second, on his way to third. Polanco is in with a triple.
And he means so much to this lineup, hitting the top of the order. What he can do, he's really worked on pulling the ball. He gets a breaking ball out over the plate. Middle of summer, maybe that ball ends up in the stands, but cold day like today, that thing hits off the wall. He's running hard out of the box. He knows it's probably not flying. Ball takes a good bounce off that screen in front of the out-of-town scoreboard. He knows the importance of getting to third base with 1 out. Now you've got a sac fly situation. You've got a situation where you can tie the ball game without actually getting a hit right here. So that was important for him to run hard and know that it's not a homer until it actually goes over the fence.
Indians draw their infield in, and Cruz takes a fastball up and in. Cruz lined out to right field his first time up. Cruz, great numbers against Bauer. He hit the ball hard his first time up. Now 7 for 13 against Trevor Bauer. Big swing and a miss, 1-1.
Cruz would take that same swing, that same out he made his first at bat, he'd be satisfied with it right here with a runner on third.
Tight again. I don't think that hit him. Cruz is on his way to first. Must have hit him. Top hand. Thursday afternoon, Jonathan Scope got hit in the hand.
That might have been a foul ball off the end of the bat right there.
I don't know. The Indians are looking at it. They may have a challenge here. I didn't think it hit him from up here, but I'm 100 feet from home plate.
Well, it changed directions on the way to the plate. You see, I think it hits off the knob of the bat. He drops his hand and hits off right off.
Yeah.
See the number on the bottom of his bat. So that's going to be a foul ball, a strike, and he's going to be coming back to the plate right here.
Again, we mentioned it on Thursday when they first were considering replays and challenges and all that. Hit batters were not going to be covered under the replay rule.
Then I think I mentioned it too, that because of Derek Jeter, I think there was a play in Tampa where Jeter got hit in the hand, or didn't get hit in the hand, and dropped his bat and was shaking his hand.
Right.
They awarded him first base, and I think that was also one of the ones that really made him say, hey, this is as important as anything else that we're reviewing. Why not just add this in there? Make sure we get the call right.
Well, there's either going to be runners at first and third with Rosario up, and they're going to call Cruz back. And so he'll get his batting gloves and his bat and hopes to drive in the run.
This is a tough mental reset as a hitter right here. You know, you're standing on first base. The guy, he buzzed his tower the first pitch. He came up and in on him, goes away, and then he comes right back in there, right near your chin. You're aware of that. You're thinking you got away with something. You're standing at first base. Now you got to come back. You got 2 strikes on you. You got to get re-engaged in the at-bat because that runner on third can tie the game. So you got to find a way to get the job done right here after a awkward kind of run to first, run back sort of situation.
Right. Yeah, and it's not 2-1 either. I mean, the pitch a strike because it hit the knob of the bat. So that's a factor in here as well. So it's 1-2 to Cruz. The tying run 90 feet away.
And now Bauer's got him aware of the fastball up and in. He can really expose that outer part of the plate with his breaking ball right here. Is you know, his bread and butter, the pitch that he knows he has confidence in. He's got him 3 pitches where he can try and get him to chase right here, go for the strikeout, see how much confidence he has in Perez behind the plate to either bounce it with a runner on third or does he continue to climb the ladder. This is the fun part of being a hitter right here.
1-2 to Nelson Cruz. Put it in the dirt. Perez dug it out.
And that'll tell you the confidence he has in his catcher, because runner on third, that ball goes to the backstop. It's a run every time, but he's not shying away from it. He's saying, okay, if I'm going to get beat right here, it's going to be on a pitch that I want him to swing at. I want him to try and hit.
2-2 to Cruz. Hack to the right side off the glove of Santana, and Cruz is still retired at first, but the tying run does come in. He put it in play and got the run batted in.
And that's a great call by Rocco Baldelli right there. That runner going on contact usually comes from the dugout, comes from the manager. On a cold day like today, it's hard to handle the ball. And you see him, as soon as he makes contact, he breaks towards home. He causes Santana to rush. If he's not going, Santana's able to wait back on that ball and take his time and field it, and the runner stays at third. But because he's going on contact, you're aware of that. There's like a clock, an internal clock as a fielder, that you know when that ball's hit, how hard that ball's hit, how fast you actually have to move to be able to throw that guy out at home. And he rushed it just enough with that contact to put pressure on the defense. Now we got a tie ball game.
I just like the approach at the plate. Cruz just put the ball in play, and it was a tough pitch, and it wasn't a typical Nelson Cruz hack, but he made contact and got the runner in, and we're tied now at 1. And Rosario swings through strike 1.
I think we talked about this last year. Well, everyone wants to get their A swing off as much as they can, but sometimes your B swing or even your C swing like that will get the job done. The only thing that matters is if that run scores. Nobody cares how ugly it looks or what it looks like.
Now, that might have been farther down the alphabet than that, but it got the job done.
But that's the importance of being able to put the ball in play, being able to adjust throughout an at-bat. He knows Bauer's got a plus fastball, a plus breaking ball, and he wasn't afraid to let the ball get deep. He does that, gets jammed, gets beat, and still gets the run in. And as a middle order hitter, your job is to drive in runs, and he did that there.
Tap to the right side. Indians got a run with a home run in the first inning. The Twins wrote a triple to the tying run in the bottom. Cool afternoon, a cool Saturday in the park. It's 1 apiece as we go to the 5th inning. Jorge Polanco's triple leading the way to the tying run for the Twins, and we now go to the 5th inning. Odorizzi's been good. He fell behind Hanley Ramirez 3-0, grooved one, and Ramirez hit it into the second deck. And there have been a couple of walks besides that, but Odorizzi's been very good here today, and he'll face the bottom third of the Cleveland lineup: Perez, Miller, and Moroff.
It's interesting to watch the evolution of catching. If you look at Mitch Garver and the way he's setting up, and he's doing this with guys on base and without runners on base, but it's something they're actually teaching in the Twins minor league system. They're talking about the importance of pitch framing, and they say when you set up like that, you're actually able to get down lower and you get more pitches low in the strike zone. And I went and talked to the minor league catching coordinator. I watched the catchers doing the drills on the minor league side when I was down there last week, and said, okay, what about throwing out runners? And they say it actually doesn't cost you any time. What about blocking pitches in the dirt? Well, you're actually closer to the ground, so you're able to block the ball a little bit better. They say you save more runs framing pitches, changing counts from a 2-1 count into a 1-2 count has more impact on a game than being able to throw out runners or not throw out runners with how limited teams run nowadays. So
up down the right field line, and there will be no play.
So, you know, I countered all the things they were trying to do with my questions, and there was an answer. It's not like, hey, we're going to do this because we say so. We're going to do this because the numbers back it up. And they say that being able to steal strikes, being able to give the umpire a good look, the lower you get, you know, if it's a shorter umpire, they're able to see over, they're able to see the bottom of the zone a little bit better. You don't block them out, and that you get a lot more calls by setting up as a catcher like that. So it's been interesting to see, and Garver really bought into this, and see the Twins minor leaguers and see how it affected. I think went from the bottom third in the league to the top third in the league in pitch framing just by adding in that type of setup as a catcher.
Single low 3-2. You saw a pretty good one in his day, maybe the best in the league. Sandy Alomar Jr., first base coach for the Indians.
And Benito Santiago, I remember, used to do that.
Tony Pena. Yeah, full count to the leadoff man here in the 5th.
Some guys that caught for a long time that did that.
Tapper left side, Gonzalez. Sidearms his throw on target. Talked with Gonzalez today about his throw from the outfield grass here on Thursday, and he said, yeah, his shoulders continuing to get better. He's had all sorts of treatment on it. Of course, he signed late with the Twins, had some immediate shoulder issues, was shut down for a while. That time he kind of sidearmed the throw, but I've been told by those who've seen him play over the years, he does that. He's not a traditional every throw over the top type thrower. He'll drop down sidearm and throw it across the diamond.
And if you're able to be accurate with it, then there's nothing wrong with doing that.
There's a bunt. Odorizzi bounces off the mound, fires a P to Crone to get the runner Miller. So a bunt attempt against the shift, and as was the case yesterday when Barrios bounced off the mound and threw out Ramirez, here Odorizzi does it.
If you want to pitch, you got to be able to field your position. If you're falling off one side of the mound, you don't get it out right there, but you can help yourself as much as anyone, and that's something that coming out of spring training, everyone's going, okay, PFP, pitchers fielding practice, we worked on that, but it's one thing to work on it on the backfield on Stelly Field or TK Field in spring training, another thing to execute it in a big league park, and that's why you work on it so much in the spring.
Number 9 batter Max Moroff takes a strike at the knees. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And fouled back to the screen.
And Jake's done a great job in this 5th inning of attacking the bottom part of the order. The last thing you want to do is let them turn the lineup over. You get your leadoff hitter up. You get a chance of Jose Ramirez coming up with runners on base. You go right at him. You work ahead in the count, and he's done that in this bottom half. And he maybe will give himself a chance to pitch in the 6th inning in this ballgame.
2 strikes. Up high a little bit. Over the years before he passed, I had a chance to talk a lot with the greatest Cleveland pitcher of all time, Bob Feller. And Alberto Mejia getting loose. 1 and 2. Strike 3 at the knees. We'll pick up that conversation about Bob Feller's thoughts about the state of pitching back then, 20 years ago. And it's another strikeout for Odorizzi. Here today for good reason. Feels like temperature 23 at first pitch. Supposed to be a little bit warmer tomorrow. It's out there in the catch area in center field. Nelson Cruz driving in his first run as a Twin in the 4th. To try to take the lead now here in the 5th, starting with C.J. Crone against Trevor Bauer. Crone went down swinging his first time up. Breaking ball. Ball 1.
I think it's been a nice addition for everyone to see the new guys coming in, contributing right away. It feels good as a player. Anytime you change organizations, you come over, you want to feel like you fit in right away.
Deep down the left field line. Hit a ton, but foul. 1-1.
Almost on cue right there.
Yeah.
But I changed organization a couple times, and when you do that, you just want to feel like you're part of the group. You know, you're joining a group of usually 20 guys that were there the year before, and you want to fit in. And when you're able to contribute early, it just kind of helps you relax and feel like you're part of it.
Called second strike, 1-2. It'll be Crone, Gonzalez, and Scope, and if the Twins get a base runner or two aboard, then Bauer will be faced with the same situation Odorizzi was faced with in the top of this inning. Justin talked about doing well pitching against the bottom of the lineup. That was Bob Feller's contention when I asked him, I suppose it was 20 years ago already. I said, Bob, how would you assess the state of pitching in the game today? And Bob was never one to shy away from expressing himself. A very opinionated life, shall we say. 2-2 to C.J. Crone. Breaking ball gets a strikeout. And sanitizing it just a bit, Bob Feller said pitchers were the stupidest people on earth because they pitched everybody like they were third and fourth place hitters. And basically saying what you were saying, that they're hitting seventh, eighth, and ninth for a reason. So you need to try to get through those guys with an economy of pitches. Yeah, you save your bullets, your best ones for the middle of the order guys, but you got to remember guys are in the big leagues for a reason too. It's not, but yes, there's guys hit first, second, third, or fourth for a reason, just like guys hit lower in the lineup for a reason. But at the same time, you can't take it easy. You're not just going to throw fastballs down the middle to them because they're hitting at a certain spot in the order. Everyone's in the big leagues because they have talent and because they've accomplished something to get here. But yes, it's true. You got to work through that lineup, part of the lineup, as quick as you can. So that way, if you need extra pitches to get the middle guys out, you have them. Gonzalez slaps it foul, 1-1. Bauer last year awfully tough, 12-6. 2.21 ERA, and as we mentioned on Thursday, he's one of 4 Cleveland starting pitchers who eclipsed 200 strikeouts. First time that had ever been done in Major League Baseball. A team with 4 200 strikeout guys. 1-1 to Marwin Gonzalez, and there's strike 2.
And that's why no matter what happens with this Cleveland team, they're going to be in almost every ball game because of their starting pitching. They're going to need to find some offense. They're going to need to get their injured guys back. But you know, when you're lining Kluber, Bauer, you know, when you're running those guys out there every day, you have a chance to win every day.
Gonzalez called out on strikes his first time up, and he's called out again. A breaking ball on the outside corner, 2 down, and let's check in with Marnie Gelner, wherever she is here at Target Field.
Just staying warm. How about a showstopper? The Red Sox in Seattle, top of the 9th inning. Mitch Moreland pinch hitting with 2 runners on, blasted a laser home run. Exit velocity 114 miles an hour on that one. That completed a big Red Sox comeback too. They were down by 5 runs, but ended up beating the Mariners 7-6.
Yeah, looked for all the world like the Mariners were going to jump out 4-0. Red Sox came back to win. Of course, the Mariners beat the A's in a couple of games in Japan. Strike 1 to Jonathan Scope.
How much of that did you get to watch Ichiro send off?
I stayed around to specifically watch that early in the morning down in Fort Myers. Yeah, it was tasteful, subdued, some thought, but you know, the guy has meant so much to the game over there and here. 2 strikes to Scope, and now strike 3, and it's 3 up, 3 down, 5th with 3 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities, and by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. It's chilly one at Target Field, and another low-scoring ball game, 1 apiece as we go to the 6th inning. Odorizzi's been really good. He'll start this inning with 80 pitches thrown, and he'll face the Indians now the 3rd time through the batting order, at least at the start of the 6th inning. It'll be the leadoff man, Leonis Martin, aboard. Martin called out on strikes in the 1st, drew a walk in the 3rd.
He hit that double the other day. C.J. Cron playing a couple of steps deeper than he was when he got beat by him the other day.
Bunted in the air and caught by Cron. So another bunt attempt by the Indians. And so far they have not proven to have any ability to bunt. A couple of ground outs to the pitcher, and this one popped straight up in the air.
Take a look at a couple of strikeouts from Jake Odorizzi. He's been very good today. And you see that setup of Garver, give him a good target. Feeling confident back there, framing pitches. He's been able to work up in the zone. He's been able to work down in the zone. He's been able to locate, and he's pitching into the 6th inning, which was difficult at times for him to do last year.
Interesting. Essentially the same situation, just later in the ball game for Jose Ramirez. In the 1st inning, the Twins had a 4.5-man outfield and nobody on the left side of the infield. But now in a 1-1 game in the 6th inning, a more conventional shift. 3 infielders on the right side, Gonzalez staying on the left side, and only 3 outfielders. In the 1st inning, they had Gonzalez parked out in the left field corner and swung everybody around.
And I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. Tie ball game late, you don't want to give up a base runner. Whether that factors into it or not, I'm not sure, but I guess that's a question we'll have to find out after the ball game. But when you decide to go to a 4, and when you decide to go to a 3-man outfield, and how do you decide what part of the ball game dictates when you do that?
Strike on the outside corner, and it's 2-2.
But whatever they've been doing, they've been able to keep him off base and keep him off the score sheet. So keep moving around, keep messing around with him, keep getting in that hitter's head, and then keep getting pitches right on the edge of the strike zone like that. You'll be all right.
2-2. And now 2-3. Second time that Odorizzi has struck out Ramirez swinging. And that'll bring up Naquin. Are you game for a little excitement? Head to foxsportsnorth.com, submit a photo and message for the opportunity to be featured in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle during our broadcast and receive $100 in scratch tickets. With the Minnesota Lottery, every day is game day. Here is Naquin. He has struck out swinging twice. Odorizzi with 10 strikeouts. Drops a breaking ball off the inside corner. That was his high last year in strikeouts against the Brewers. His career high is 11 against the Indians 5 years ago. I talked with Wes Johnson this morning about what they were trying to accomplish with Odorizzi in spring training. They held him out of most of the major league spring training games, had him work on some stuff. You heard Marnie's report on that earlier. But I asked the pitching coach, and he said they're trying to get work on his separation. Now, I thought that meant originally the separation and velocity from his changeup, the split finger pitch to the fastball. But no, he was talking about the separation between the shoulder and hips, which is what we've grown to learn about Wes Johnson. He really works hard with the pitchers on their hip rotation. This ball bounced off the line to try to regain some of that velocity. And so the term separation in this instance meant the movement from the hips in relation to the movement from the shoulders.
And if you think of it as stretching a rubber band, you create that tension, and then when you release that rubber band, depending on how far you're able to pull it back, the faster it's going to go to a certain point. So if you're able to create some of that torque, that tension, you're able to fire your hips, and then your arm comes through a lot easier. It's less upper body, more lower body, like I talked about in the pregame. It's one of those things where if you have flexibility in your hips, you have strength, and it takes stress off your arm, and you're able to use your legs are obviously stronger than your upper body, so you're able to use that a lot more. And I think that's the separation if it's easier to visualize that way.
Tapped up the line foul. And I pursued the discussion with Wes a little bit, and he said, Odorizzi, it's one pitch, and some people will call it a cutter, some people will call it a slider. And Wes Johnson said that mentally they want Odorizzi to think of it as a cutter to quicken his snap of the wrist or whatever, rather than a slider, which suggests maybe a more deliberate snap of the wrist. They want him to think of it as a cutter, and he's thrown a number of them successfully, and has tied his career high in strikeouts now with the 11. Jose Barrios set the bar pretty high on Thursday, but Odorizzi came up with a great outing again here this afternoon.
And manager Rocco Baldelli telling him that he's done, shaking hands. That's a good feeling. Putting in the work in the offseason and then coming out and getting immediate results. Obviously, you try and focus on the process as much as you can. But when the process leads to positive results, it just makes you feel better about going through a winter of work and everything you've done to get to that point. So he's got to be happy with the way things worked out today. One, I wouldn't even call it a mistake, because 3-0 pitch, he's trying to throw a strike, trying to get back in the count, and a guy who's hit a lot of home runs took him deep. It happens.
Garver takes a strike. It'll be Garver, Buxton, and Kepler in the Twin Six. Did that make any sense to you when I was trying to explain the message from Wes Johnson about mentally trying to think of it as a cutter rather than a slider?
Well, I think it goes back to what we talked about with Bauer, with the conviction. When you throw it as hard as you can, you think of it as a slider, sometimes a slower pitch, it might slow your body down. You might not throw it with as much conviction, as much force. A cutter, is a cut fastball. So I think if you think of it as throwing a fastball as opposed to throwing something slower, something softer, you're able to attack it a little more. You might not get as much movement, but it'll come out of your hand a little bit better. It might be harder for the hitter to pick up because you're not doing anything different with your delivery. You're throwing it the same as your fastball. You're throwing it the same as your split. You're trying to go out there and throw it as hard as you can, as opposed to trying to make the ball move and trying to finesse it. You're throwing it with conviction, and you're attacking the hitter is probably the best way to look at it. So it made sense to me with the way you were saying it.
2-2. This will be the 75th pitch for Bauer. Down the right field line, twisting to the corner, being tracked by Naquin, struggling with it, but he makes the catch in the shadows, one away. Bring up Buxton. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Don't worry about your boss. He won't mind you watching baseball in the office. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's Buxton. Corner infielders pinching a little bit here in the event that Buxton tries to bunt, and he takes a strike, a fastball at the knees. Buxton struck out, swinging his first time up. Breaking ball lifted to left, got under it a little bit, got under it a lot. Bowers, so that's Allen out there now, I believe. No, that's Bowers. 2 down, and that'll bring up Kepler.
That one's probably going to haunt Byron for the rest of the night there, because it looked like he was looking for a breaking ball. He got a breaking ball, he waited for it, and he missed it by 1/8 of an inch and hit it straight up in the air. A pop-up like that can be a home run just as easily. It was, I mean, everything worked out the way he could. He just didn't get the result he wanted, but I mean, he was right on time for that. He just caught it off the end of the bat. But
Kepler whistles one down the right field line. Looks foul.
That's going to be a good feeling for Max after popping up to third his first 2 at-bats. And that frustration can mount very quickly as a hitter when you keep looking up there and you keep seeing zeros next to your batting average and next to your stats, because you want to contribute, you want to get off to a good start, and it's a good aggressive swing from Max right there.
On strike to Kepler. Drifts outside, 1-1. Twins breaking out those new blue unis. You like them?
Yes, mostly.
Mostly. Falling back, looked like he was on time at off-speed pitch.
They look very similar to Cleveland's blue unis.
Yeah, they do a little bit.
That's the only issue I have.
Yeah.
Is they're, but change it up, put a little gold on there. They're nice looking uniforms.
1-2 to Max Kepler. Bauer thought it was strike 3. He and a couple of members of the infield headed to the dugout. Phil Cousy says, no, we're not done yet. Don't know where it missed. And a foul tip. Kepler still has his at bat.
I think it's funny as a hitter, you know, you look at those and you go, oh, a strike got called a ball. The balls get called strikes a lot more than the strikes get called balls. We highlight it every time a guy throws a ball. It looks like it's in the zone and it's a huge deal, but a guy, we've seen it probably 5 or 6 times. The ball, you know, an inch or 2 off the plate gets called a strike, and it's, oh, it was a good pitch.
Sound a little bitter, actually.
Everything in my career, there's nothing that drove me crazier than the strike zone, because it has such an impact. When you take a pitch that's a really good pitch, but it might be an inch or 2 off the plate, when you could be in a 2-0 count, you're in a 1-1 count, or, you know, the counts, the way the averages and the slugging percentages swing between a 2-1 count or a 1-2 count or whatever it is. I mean, it's a huge difference as a hitter depending on where you're at.
Breaking ball up and away, and now it's 3-2 with Polanco on deck. Well, if there are any second-generation Bornos who make it to the big leagues, by the time they get here, they'll have an electronic strike zone, and they won't have to deal with the frustration that their father had to deal with. Full count.
Or
back.
Perceived frustration, I guess. But, and they're back there they do a great job. I mean, they see 250 pitches, and they get, you know, there's 4 or 5 borderline ones that don't go your way. It happens in your at-bat, and you become more aware of it, as opposed to realizing how tough their job is. The ball's moving all over the place. It's the best pitchers in the world. You got to call within, you know, inches.
And Bauer ends up striking Kepler out. Just took him a handful of more pitches, and we head to the 7th, tied at 1. Another low-scoring game. Here's our Grand Casino story of the game.
And it's just how they drew it up. There's their number 2 pitcher who could be an ace anywhere else, but he's 9 strikeouts, and on the other side, Jake Odorizzi, just as good, tied the career high and 11 strikeouts. So it's been another pitcher's duel here. Hopefully it works out the same way it did in the last game for the Twins. Find a way to score a run. They manufactured one, their only run. So this game's going to keep going. It's going to be a battle of the bullpens probably from this point moving forward. We'll see, with a new pitcher coming in, Trevor May right here, to see how Rocco Baldelli uses his bullpen, how he matches up late in this ball game, and to see a lot of these guys out of the Twins bullpen who didn't get to pitch the first game because Barrios threw so well and Rogers came in and shut the door.
Trevor May, the new pitcher, pitching to the Indians here in the 7th inning, starting with Carlos Santana. Slow breaking ball, missing low, ball 1. We generally will see a lot more of that than we have seen in the past. First pitch breaking balls. May's got a good one.
If you've got something that you can command or you can throw for strikes, doesn't matter the count. If you feel like you can get it over, why not?
Now 2-0, missing with the fastball. Santana with a ground out and a pop-up. And one of the reasons the Indians were interested in bringing him back, and a terrible year in Philadelphia last year in terms of batting average, but always draws a lot of walks, so you got to throw it over the plate to this guy. And May having a tough time doing that. 3-0.
And they had a couple of those guys for a while. You know, Brantley's now in Houston, but he was the guy who saw a lot of pitches, who made the pitcher work. Santana, you have to have someone in the lineup that's willing to work those at-bats, see 6 or 7 pitches, and make that pitcher work, because it allows everyone else in the lineup to swing freely.
Down the middle of strike. Of course, the Twins had Joe Mauer fill that role for him, and it might surprise a lot of people that another guy who Twins have that sees a lot of pitches is Jorge Polanco.
And Marwin Gonzalez.
Marwin Gonzalez too. Nelson Cruz does it pretty well too.
So they've added something to help pick up that. Hopefully the young hitters continue to grow into that also.
Strike 2. Santana thought it was ball 4, tossed his bat away. So Phil Cousy drawing the ire of the Indians. First, Bauer thought he had strike 3 against Kepler, and now Santana thought this was ball 4. Right there.
That's right there at the top of the zone. When Santana first came in the league, that pitch wasn't a strike, but now they call that pitch consistently, which has affected hitters in a big way.
Fly ball left field. And Rosario makes the catch, 1 away. One down, that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez. Time now for today's Coors Light refreshing finish. It was Ramirez on a 3-0 pitch, giving the Indians their first run of the season.
That wind wasn't blown in from left. That might actually made it up in the third deck too. There's a reason they brought him with them out of spring training. They had some injuries, but they had an opportunity. They want to see what they got with him, and he did that for a long time. And he had a lot of time off, but to see him do that, I think it's good for baseball for him to be a good baseball player, because he was so good for so long. You like to see, everyone loves a comeback story. You know, he was released in May, out of baseball for the entire second half of the year, and now he comes back and he does that, and the Indians will need him to do a lot of that, especially early on.
Waiting on the curveball, and it's hammered foul. 1-1. So Alberto Mejia warming up again. Well, he's in a situation now on a team in Cleveland that really needs the firepower he used to bring to a lineup.
It's a different, you know.
Left side, and Gonzalez picks it off, spins and fires, safe at first. Good play by Gonzalez, picking that ball off. And a low throw dug out by Crone. We'll see if the Twins challenge it. Baldelli with his left arm extended, hanging out of the dugout.
And he got a lot on that throw. He was able to spin. That's the communication sometimes there, where I don't know who that's an easier play for, but you cut it off, you go for the ball every time. He got his feet ready and made a good strong throw.
Well, now Ramirez, who's got both Cleveland hits, about 400 feet of difference between the two hits. He's aboard with a 1-out single, and Rocco Baldelli will come out and make a pitching change with Mejia ready to come in and pitch against the left-hand hitting Jake Bauers. One apiece. We're in the 7th from Minneapolis. Only in Minnesota can you enjoy one of Minnesota's newest breathtaking destinations, the Cuyuna Country State Recreation Area. 25 miles of natural shoreline draws anglers, divers. Yeah, you can dive the old mine pits, and boaters alike to this new and underdeveloped recreation area. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com. Share your favorites with #OnlyInMN. Some concern in the northern part of the state that the ice is going to be off the lakes in time for the fishing opener. We'll hope that once the floodwaters ease a bit, that we have a quicker thaw and everybody can get out and enjoy the fishing opener. It will be Alberto Mejia coming in to pitch for the Twins, but he won't face a left-hand hitting Jake Bauers. Luplow, the pinch hitter.
We saw Luplow in the opener. Now we'll see manager Terry Francona go into his bench. He's the master, known as the master of the matchup.
Swung on and a foul tip, 1 strike.
And more than anyone in baseball, he was able to get these matchups: a left-handed pitcher with a right-handed hitter, or a right-handed pitcher with a left-handed hitter. He uses his bench. He goes to it early. You don't see it very often in the American League, but he's able to do that and try and give his guys the best chance to succeed in going up in these situations.
Go-ahead runner at first, 1 out. The Twins have a pull shift on for the right-handed batter. And with Crone holding the runner, the right side of the infield's wide open. Swung on and missed, 0-2. Do not have the lineup nor the bench that they have had in recent years. And 3 pitches later, Mejia has a strikeout, out number 2.
It'll be interesting to see, as a team that's expected to contend and plans on contending, how long they go without making an addition. I think sometimes no matter how good your starting pitching is, as we look at this pitch, this misfire that ends up working out for Mejia, just overpowers him with a fastball. But, you know, sometimes you can dig yourself just too deep of a hole to get out of, no matter how good your starting pitching is. If you're not scoring any runs and you end up finishing April with a losing record and you're 5 or 6 games under 500 because of the guys you're missing and you don't have the depth on your bench, that can end up costing you the division in April, and you're playing catch up the whole way. You just make it harder on yourself. So how long do they go without adding something to this roster of a team that wants to contend and expects to contend?
One strike to Perez. Right after we left the air on Thursday, the Indians announced that they signed veteran Cameron Maben to a minor league deal. He's not going to be any immediate help, but his fast track to the big leagues might be accelerated if some of the other players like Luplow, Tyler Naquin hitting third in this lineup. So far this year, he's 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts. 1-1 to Perez. Missing 2-1.
All the concerns that were talked about for the Indians and their outfield and the additions and everything else that they didn't make, and it's unfortunately for them been a weakness so far. Obviously a game and a half into it, but you know, it's been a weakness so far for them, and those concerns haven't really gone away in these first 2 games.
3-1, and of course the question marks really highlighted when question marks were about the outfield, and then you lose 2 of your anchors in the infield, Kipnis and Lindor, for an undetermined amount of time. Lindor going to see a specialist in Green Bay on Monday to get that ankle checked out.
And that might dictate whether they make a move or not, depending on how long they expect him to be out.
On the outside corner, 3-2, and Perez thought that was ball 4. Boy, in the last 2 half innings, Phil Cuzzi has really gone counter to what the Indians have expected in terms of the strike zone.
But you got to give Garver some credit, because he's really framing the ball well. He's gotten some pitches today. He's put himself in a good position to frame and giving Phil Cuzzi a good look, and he's getting calls.
Ramirez takes off, and the pitch driven foul down the right field line into the seats.
And I guarantee Perez is walking back and looked at Phil and probably said, "Was that a strike? Where'd you have that?"
Oh my. That won't help, will it?
Well, no, sometimes you're just looking for information. You know, you take a pitch that you think is off, and then you go back and look at it in video, and you see it catches a part of the plate. So sometimes you start second guessing your strike zone, and you're walking back going, "Okay, I fouled off a tough pitch there. Did you have that as a strike?" And he'll give you an honest answer most of the time.
Full count again. Strike 3. Mejia comes out of the pen and strikes out 2. Yesterday, or Thursday, the 7th inning was the magical inning for the Twins.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Emmer with your Mall of America Studio Sports Update. After a battle at home with the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves welcome the Philadelphia 76ers for Game 3 of their 4-game homestand. Don't miss this battle with an Eastern Conference foe tonight on Fox Sports North at 6:30 p.m.
What a win last night for the Wolves against the Golden State Warriors, and Arnie Gellner will have more on that in a little while. Katie Emmer's recovered nicely, as I hope I have as well, after St. Cloud State was eliminated in the NCAA hockey tournament last night. Luplow staying in the game is in left field. Katie, a more recent graduate of St. Cloud State than I am.
Do you think you graduated before she was born?
Yes, I know I have. What's your point?
Well, none other than that.
Polanco will lead things off. He's got the only Twins hit here today. It was a triple off the fence in right center field. He later scored the tying run in the 4th inning. Bauer's been really good. 86 pitches, 57 strikes, a strike percentage of 66. And Polanco takes low 1-1. Polanco, Cruz, and Rosario in the 7th for the Twins. Taylor Rogers getting loose. Brilliant in his relief role on Thursday. But away now 2-1. This is what we were talking about before. Polanco, I think, quietly has built a reputation in baseball of being a pretty patient hitter. and getting into some deeper counts, and he's trying to work one here against Bauer, leading off the 7th inning. 3-1.
And he's done a nice job of continuing to work on that. It's a conscious effort. You have to go up there every at-bat aware of your strike zone, what you're looking for, and it's very hard to do throughout the course of a season. It's easy to do early, but once you get fatigued, it's hard to get locked in on that.
And we've seen him spin on a few pitches this year, trying to hit one out. He fouled it back.
And why not? You get yourself in a 3-1 count. Nothing wrong with taking that swing. Now you get yourself to 3-2, and now you try and do anything you can to get on base. You gave yourself the one. You took a shot at hitting the ball up in the people on the plaza, and now, all right, I'm leading off an inning. I got to find a way to get on right here.
Full count to Polanco. And he takes ball 4. First walk issued by Trevor Bauer, and it comes leading off the 7th. And now let's check in with Marty Gellner.
We were just talking about that wonderful Timberwolves game last night, and Nelson Cruz had a great seat for it. He was there across the street at Target Center, sitting courtside, met Karl Anthony Towns after the game. They'd never met before. Nelson Cruz is from the Dominican Republic. Karl Anthony Towns' mother is from the Dominican Republic. Cat played on the Dominican national team, so there's a connection there. And Cruz told me that he is an NBA fan, and that last night is one of the best, maybe the best game he has ever seen in person. And as you'll recall, guys, last night, Towns made the winning free throw with 0.5 seconds left in the game in overtime to beat the NBA champs.
Yeah, phenomenal game. And maybe that's why Cruz left the Seattle Mariners and signed with the Twins, because of the NBA. They don't have the NBA in Seattle anymore.
Whatever it takes to get him here.
Right.
He's happy he's on our team.
1 strike to Cruz. Drove in the Twins run with a 2-strike ground out back in the 4th inning. And now he takes strike 2.
This will be interesting to see what happens the rest of this game. That shadow's starting to creep towards home plate. It's going to start affecting hitters in the next inning or two. They're going to score. Twins need to try and score a run right here.
He's averaged over 100 runs batted in over the last 5 years. And he got his first one as a Twin in the 4th inning. Timing of it was perfect because the Indians had just taken a 1-0 lead on the Ramirez home run in the top half of the inning. Nice pickup, and now Polanco will be able to slide into second, and he didn't see the ball going into the right field corner, so maybe the middle infielders decoyed Polanco into sliding. He would have had third base. Perez's throw, as he caught the pitch out of the dirt, one-hops Santana and went past him.
And this is tough as a base runner. Anytime the ball's behind you, you know, he was caught. He knew he was out. He had no idea that that throw was balanced as he's running full speed. He just takes off. He puts his head down because he knows he's picked. So you don't know where that ball's at, because if you turn around and you're trying to run while you're looking back, you're going to be in trouble. So that was tough. It's easy for us to look at it, but hard as a base runner to kind of do.
Bigger catch by Perez there, as he was able to get that pitch that bounced in the dugout. Well, you saw Miller, though, the second baseman. He was not watching the ball in the right field corner. He was in position to catch a throw that would never come, and that's all that Polanco saw, so that's why he went down in the slot.
Yeah, you're reading, as you're going into second base, you're reading where that guy is. If the second baseman's on the outfield side of the bag, you're going to try and slide to the inside, or you're seeing where they're setting up, and you try and kind of get in the way if you know you're going to be out by a lot, which you usually are on a play like that.
2-2 to Nelson Cruz. Oh, that one got him. He pitched him up and in twice in his prior at bat, and Cruz is upset. And more importantly, let's hope that he's all right. And Cruz is, as he's walking to first, holding up more than one finger, because that's how many times Bauer pitched him up and in his last at bat, and then hit him here in the 7th. Off the wrist. And Masa Abe, one of the trainers, and Rocco Baldelli coming out. Carl Willis will go to the mound. And not that Bauer wants or needs my defense. We could see throughout this inning his command was missing. Oh, pretty much wild pitch Polanco to second and nearly wild pitched him to third.
Yeah, and even with the walk, his misfires, we hadn't seen that many misfires in an at-bat, and all of a sudden Polanco, he missed, you know, the entire plate, basically where Nelson just got hit on a 3-2 pitch that wasn't even close. So he's, whether it's fatigue, whether it's anything different, all I know is as a hitter, anytime anyone comes up near your chin, up near your face, it's not a comfortable thing, and when it happens 3 times in the course of 2 at-bats,
right,
that's when you start to look out there and you get really mad, because you're going, okay, fine, you can pitch in, you can come in, but just keep it away from my head area. And you know, you get hit in the ribs, it hurts, you're sore for a few days, but you get up in that head area, that's when it starts to get a little personal, I think, for guys.
A walk, a hit batter, a wild pitch. Edwards and Olsen getting loose. Rosario is the batter. He's put the ball in play twice against Bauer. Once in the air, retired on a catch by Naquin in right field, then a ground ball to second. So big spot here for the Twins, hoping to pull off some 7th inning magic again. And he's all over the place. He was at first base after this pitch hit the knob of his bat. He was called back and ended up driving in the run. That was back in the 4th inning, and then he got him on the wrist here in the 7th.
I think that it's interesting to see for how good Bauer was early and how in command he was, how quickly he's lost the strike zone here. Look for Rosario to be a little more disciplined and get something he wants to hit right here.
2-0. And let's go back to the end of the bottom of the 6th inning. He had Kepler struck out on a breaking ball, and Bauer is an emotional guy. Everybody knows that. And he really exulted in finally striking out Kepler about 5 pitches later than he thought he had actually struck him out.
And when he was walking off the mound, you could see the emotion. He was slapping his glove going, all right, well, you could tell that the call got to him.
And now 3-0 to Rosario.
And whether that's had any impact on this inning or not, the Twins don't really care. As long as you see, if you see a guy unraveling, you see that going on, you can sense that as a team. You can sense that in the dugout, and you know that this is probably his last hitter. You try and find a way to finish him off right here.
3-0 to Rosario. That's a foul ball. First base umpire Todd Tishner couldn't have gotten a better look at it, but boy, it looked like that ball went right over the bag. Nice stop by Carlos Santana on what appeared to be a fair ball. Let's take a look down the line. Rosario green lighted. Well, boy, very close.
That was close, but he had the best look out of anybody in the ballpark, so we'll take his word for it at this point.
Now 3-1. Twins have just 1 hit against Bauer. And now 3-2. Significantly that he's thrown 16 pitches this inning and still doesn't have an out. 5 of the prior 6 innings were 1, 2, 3 innings.
And he regularly pitches 110, 115 pitches. It's just surprising to see throw this many pitches this early in a game or in the season.
Fly ball left center field. Luplow makes the catch. 1 away, and now Crone. Crone has struck out swinging twice against Bauer.
See if he approaches this at bat any differently with runners on base. You saw him when the Twins scored in the last game, just take a single up the middle. Does he take a little something off his swing? We saw him pull the homer foul off him earlier in the game. Now does he just go into driving in a run mode?
Half swing but a strike. Bauer with that quicker breaking ball. Trying to pitch out a jam here in the 7th. One and one.
It's interesting. There's not very many guys that hit 30 home runs last year that aren't getting shifted in a situation like this. Even with right-handed hitters now, we see it all the time. But we've got hitters playing in almost, or the fielders playing in almost a normal defensive alignment. This is interesting to see for a true power guy.
On the outside corner, and it's 1-2. My impression of Cron from a distance when he was with the Angels and last year with the Rays, he's a power hitter, but he's more of a gap-to-gap power hitter. We've seen him with tremendous power to center field and to right center.
And he's big enough, strong enough to be able to hit it out any part of the ballpark, and I think that's where he found success.
Another breaking ball, this time a successful check, 2-2. Twins have been given a scoring opportunity thanks to the walk to Polanco. Cruz hit by a pitch. And now 2-2 to C.J. Cron. Got a pitch up and fouled it back. He went upstairs at 96 to try to get a swing and a miss, but he didn't get it.
That's tough after a steady diet of breaking balls. You get them out off the way of the plate, and then all of a sudden that fastball up under the hands, and you're just late enough on it because you're making sure that you're not chasing that breaking ball. You get in that defensive mode with 2 strikes, and that's what makes Bauer so effective.
Another 2-2. Sharply hit, caught nicely by Miller. He'll start a 4-6-3 double play. Nice play by Brad Miller, a hard one-hopper for a ground ball double play, and we head to the 8th. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Tied at 1. We go to the 8th inning. Taylor Rogers, who was brilliant here Thursday, picking up a 4-out save, will come into the ball game to pitch to the Indians here in the 8th inning, starting with Brad Miller, who made a really good snag of this hard one-hopper to start a double play.
And this is why you don't shift C.J. Cron, because he can hit the ball over there. Miller, a veteran guy who's been around. Trusts his hands, stays back, gets the big hop. Big outs right there.
Miller, the batter, facing Rogers. Breaking ball wide of the plate. And a breaking ball over the outside corner. Rogers did not face Miller on Thursday. He struck out 3 of the 4 batters he faced. 1-1. One and two, and for the first time with that swing, it appeared that's a really tough assignment for a hitter now with the shadows creeping out in front of home plate.
And one of the best left on left pitchers in the game.
Right. 1-2. And he serves a soft single to center right off the end of his bat. And Miller's aboard with a leadoff hit here in the 8th. Pro baller, shot caller, 2 sides, you decide. Catch Speak for Yourself with Jason Whitlock and Marcellus Wiley. Weekdays at 2 p.m. on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Now the leadoff man is on. Max Moroff is the batter, or is he the bunter? Gonzalez in on the grass at 3rd.
Tie game on the road, the 8th inning. I'd be shocked as I can be if he doesn't bunt right here.
2 strikeouts against Odorizzi. He'll throw to first to see if Moroff would betray his intentions. Right side of the infield open with the first baseman Cron holding the runner. Bunted in the air. And Crone turns and fires. Not a good bunt because it was in the air and the runner couldn't break for second base. So the Twins get the force. And the Indians haven't hit much, but they've been absolutely dreadful at bunting in this series so far.
And this is a play as a first baseman where you think the catcher's, because you want to be able to get the double play. So you're kind of caught in no man's land a little bit. You're thinking, I got to get back to the base. But the most important thing is getting it out. And they were able to get the lead runner as the ball was bunted in the air, like you said. And a good play by C.J. Crone. Spin, fire, get the out. Now a single doesn't score him. You still need to drive the ball in the gap to score the runner. So not getting the job done in a day when there's been 4 hits total between the two teams is really a backbreaker for this Cleveland team that's really struggling on offense right now.
Strike on the outside corner to Martin, who struck out against Rogers in the 9th inning on Thursday. One strike to Martin. Another breaking ball fouled back. As we said, in the 9th inning on Thursday, the Cleveland lineup lines up perfectly for Taylor Rogers again here in the 8th inning with all the left-handed batters.
And I think this is one of the benefits of not declaring a closer coming out of spring training, us saying we're going to try and match up the best we can. Now you've got arguably your best relief pitcher against the best part of their lineup.
Breaking ball lifted to short right center field. And it's Buxton with the catch. 2 down, and now a word or several from Prism Research.
For more information on upcoming studies at Prism Research, visit our website at prismresearchinc.com.
Dick Bramer along with Justin Morneau and Marnie Gellner. We've talked at length in the 2 telecasts so far about all the off days, but the off day yesterday, as much as anything else, has allowed the Twins to come back with Taylor Rogers.
Yes, he threw a number of pitches, faced, was up and down, came in multiple innings, but with the day off, he's fresh, especially early in the year. Now you can use him in the matchups that you want for an extended period of time.
Strike 1 to Ramirez. Some concern in advance of this series, and now Phil Cuzzy getting some heat from the Cleveland dugout about his ball strike calling, apparently. Either that or maybe claiming that Rogers didn't stop, wanting a balk to be called. No,
it's a good pitch.
And a throw to first. Some concern that Ramirez would even be able to play in the last game of spring training in Arizona. He fouled the ball off the inside of his left knee while hitting right-handed. And they left him in Arizona to get some treatment and then got him to Minnesota, and he looked just fine in batting practice here on Wednesday. And on the outside corner, another breaking ball for strike 2.
That's a strike every day of the week. It's tough when you're off to a slow start as a hitter. It seems like every close call goes against you, and you're more aware of it. But those are both strikes.
Popped up right center field. Kepler comes in. Rogers gives up a rare hit to a left-handed batter, but he gets the next 3 men.
It's 1-1 for the Twins and the Indians, and for the second consecutive game, we've got a great pitching matchup to break down in our post-game show. It's Twins Live right after the game, where we will look at a fantastic start from Jake Odorizzi, who tied his career high with 11 strikeouts today, and he did it in 6 innings. And how about Trevor Bauer in his 7 innings, just 1 hit given up to Twins hitters. So we'll take a look at both of today's starters, and we will hear from Rocco Baldelli. And you can bet, Dick and Justin, that we will have the game winner as well. We don't know what that's going to be or who it's going to be by, but we'll have it for you in our Twins Live postgame show.
Well, we'll see how it plays out here. Olsen, who pitched in the ball game, Tyler Olsen, 43 times last year for the Indians, was really good. comes in to try to do what Taylor Rogers just did for the Twins.
And of course, their old nemesis, Marwin Gonzalez, coming up with another chance to break their heart, at least early in this early part of the season. So it's like every time you look up, it's that guy you don't want to face seems to be walking up to the batter's box when things aren't going your way.
Gonzalez, Scope, Garver. The Twins hope to get Buxton and Kepler to the plate this inning as well. Had a chance to take the lead in the 7th inning after the opening walk and following hit batter. But a big double play ended the threat. And now Gonzalez takes a breaking ball and strike one. Shadow extending now about 20 feet in front of home plate. We'll take some time to ask the hitters what it's like now, because we started about this time under partly cloudy skies on Thursday. But the new batter's eye out in the center field is brilliantly lit, half of it. And there's a diagonal slash of the shadow of the overhang. There's the ball lifted to short right center field in a tough spot. And coming in from right field is Naquin to make the catch 1-1. Bring up Scope. Join T-Mobile and score free MLB.tv. Sign up now at T-Mobile.com/MLB. Well, for whatever reason, Terry Francona wanted Olson to make Gonzalez a right-handed batter. And so a pitching change here with 1 out in the 8th in a tie ball game. Limited number of class of 2019 ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a class of 2019 t-shirt. Go to twinsbaseball.com/class of 2019. Learn more or call 800-33-TWINS. John Edwards comes in to pitch to Jonathan Scope. And Scope pops it up, back and out of play. 1 strike.
This would be a great time for Scope to check in on the season and come up with a big hit, try and get a rally started late in this ball game.
9 games in his first year in the Cleveland organization. A Tommy John recovered pitcher by now, way out in front. In the Padre organization, the Ranger organization for most of his career. Always a reliever. Mentioned on Thursday, the Indians have some unfamiliar names out there in the bullpen, and the familiar ones were so good for so long. Line. Oh, what a catch! Moroff with a diving grab, going to his left, taking a hit away from Jonathan Scope. 2 away.
This was a little bit of a miss hit, but he went a long way to go get this ball. It was Scope's going, what do I got to do to get my first hit here? But ends up making a diving play on him. Nice play. Now Garver's got to try and get it going with two outs right here.
A full-length dive for out number 2, and now Garver, a bouncer to third and a fly ball to right. Fastball down the middle of strike. Brian Shaw left last year already for the Rockies. Andrew Miller's gone with the Cardinals. Cody Allen with the Angels. This one squirted toward right field. Oh, what a great catch. This time by Brad Miller, the middle infielders for the Indians. No, it's not Kipnis and Lindor. It's Miller and Moroff, and they've come up with some great plays late in the game here this afternoon.
Stay tuned for Twins Live.
1 apiece going to the 9th inning. If the Twins are going to win today, it's going to be a walk-off win. Here's today's TD Ameritrade right call, with Jake Odorizzi coming up with one of his better outings of his career.
And a nice job by the Twins pitching staff through the first 2 games. A lot of strikeouts, attacking the zone, working ahead, doing everything you want out of those guys. And Jake will be happy with that start today.
It's not that I don't believe it's true. I have a hard time believing this stat. It's just the second time in history that pitchers have 10 or more strikeouts in the same team in the first 2 games of the season. I find that hard to believe. And Roger Clemens and somebody else, it was Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling with the Diamondbacks in 01. Well, here's Blake Parker about to make his Twins debut. Had a really good year with the Angels last year.
And a nice pickup for the Twins bullpen. A guy who's had success late in ball games, has saved some games, who's finished off some games. A guy who's a nice compliment on the right-hand side to Taylor Rogers on the left-hand side to hopefully shut down ball games at the end and shorten the games for these Twins pitchers.
Fastball missing inside. Parker with a unique windup from the stretch, but it takes him, it seems like, forever to get into the stretch position. Popped up, busted back, and one-handing it is Garver, one away.
All this copyright telecast is presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
He's Justin Morneau. I'm Dick Bramer. Marty Gellner's here someplace. And the Twins have another low-scoring game. Only 2 runs scored in the game Thursday. Only 2 so far here today. 1 down, and Carlos Santana, the batter.
And I think Naquin was pretty happy there that he
put the ball in play.
To start, you're always looking for small victories in this game.
Well, it cost him a bat, but the way he was swinging and missing with that bat is probably a good thing that it's been retired.
I wouldn't be surprised if the one that struck out the first 6 times did get replaced already.
See, that's what you were talking about. You felt you were superstitious. I don't, based on your description, that's not so much you were superstitious so much as maybe you just liked your routine. There's a difference, isn't there?
I said it was a routine because it helped me be comfortable and helped me settle in and prepare without having to think about things other than what I felt like I should be thinking about. So, but it's always easy to blame the bat.
2-0 on the ground, a hot ground ball between the infielders, and Santana's aboard with a 1-out single. That'll get us to Hanley Ramirez. Target Field's become the top choice for families throughout Twins territory, celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, family celebrations of all kinds. You can schedule your special event in a fully catered Target Field hospitality space available for groups of 16 to 250 plus. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 833-TWINS and ask about a Twins Target Field group outing. Here's Ramirez. He's reached all 3 times. He has 2 of the 4 Cleveland hits, including a home run in the 4th inning. Fouled back, a strike. Parker's got a split finger pitch and can induce a lot of ground balls, and he'd like to get one here.
And you see the Twins in a traditional defense, similar to when C.J. Chrome was up and they grounded the double play. Hanley Ramirez is a guy who's proven in the past that he can use the whole field. And it looked to me right there like he was trying to go to the other gap. He was trying to let the ball travel. He hit his pull homer. Now he doesn't anticipate getting anything inside, so he's looking to go the other way in this at bat.
Outfield and no doubles defense, and Parker misses 1-1. Buxton playing at deep center field. One thing the Twins, of course, are blessed with, having 3 young and athletic outfielders. And the 4th guy can run a little bit too, Jake Cave,
who had a great year last year.
Yeah. 1-1 to Ramirez. And that gets to the backstop with Garver trying to backhand a wicked splitter, it looked like, but never came close to the plate. So a wild pitch, advancing the potential go-ahead run to second base.
Now you know the threat and the power that Hanley possesses. He hit a home run earlier in this game. You got the base open. Do you kind of pitch a little more carefully right here, knowing to set up the double play and knowing the guy on deck? Obviously, he doesn't have the track record in the big leagues that Anthony Ramirez has.
It's 2-1. Luplow is the on-deck hitter. And that will advance the runner to third, and the carom from the backstop comes all the way back into fair territory. So a couple of ugly pitches by Parker. And now the go-ahead runs 90 feet away. It's a splitter.
And Garver had no chance on that ball, just like the one before. It's very rare you see at this level 2 misfires in a row like that.
And of course, the sad thing for Parker is that's his out pitch, and he's just augured 2 of them in the dirt to the backstop.
And now with a runner on third, you don't want to repeat that.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what they go to here. If they go a fastball up out of the zone, try and get him to chase and knock him in right here would probably be the most likely pitch.
Infield is in. Ball 4. So Ramirez ends up at first base. Luplow's being called back to the dugout. And Allen is going to hit for him. So a single, a couple of wild pitches, now a walk. First and third, one down. And Allen, very fast runner, very difficult guy to double up. So chances are, if Parker's going to get out of this, he's going to have to get the next 2 batters.
And this is probably a meeting as much about the hitter as it is how are you going to play this defensively. What are you going to do if they try and squeeze right here, they try and do a bunt. It's a very hard play to defend against. A little slower runner on third, Santana, but we saw Allen pinch hit in the first game and he went up there down by 2, attempted to bunt. So that's always on the table right here. As a first baseman, it's a little difficult play. You're holding the runner on. You have to stay back. It's really hard to throw that runner out at home plate when you're forced to stay back like that. So the meeting can be about the hitter, be about the approach, but also defensively, what are we going to do right here? Is there a chance we pitch out? Or is there something we do? You know, just make everyone aware, try and get everyone on the same page in a situation, try and get out of a difficult situation late in the ballgame.
Infield is in.
The infield in, you wouldn't normally see this with the speed of Allen. You know you're not going to double him up on too many hard hit or too many balls, so you play in and see what happens.
And the dirt dug out by Garver again. And Parker's really having a tough time keeping the ball airborne. No activity in the Twins' pen. Roberto Perez is the on-deck hitter. The base open, but it's second base. Runner inside 2-0.
And all his misses have been on the same side of the plate, same side of the mound, and no matter what the pitch is, it's like he's yanking everything, and whether it's the split or the fastball. Garver's kind of running out of options of what pitches to go to try and get a strike right here.
That's to center, and Buxton glides back and over. There's the catch, there's the tag, and the Indians have the lead now 2-1. On a sacrifice fly, Allen gets the job done. Going in is Santana. He got the single and then was advanced to third on a pair of wild pitches. We'll bring up Roberto Perez. It's just Allen not known as someone who's going to drive the ball, but he had a favorable count at 2-0 and was able to get it deep enough to score the go-ahead run.
He knows that the only pitch that really he was looking for was fastball. If he's paying attention to the inning leading up to that, he's shown that split fingers that he's thrown had bounced, so it's unlikely that he was going to throw him right there, and all he had to do was get the ball in the air to the outfield. Got the job done.
Brad Hand getting loose for a save opportunity now, and now Perez takes a strike, looks over at Phil Cuzzy, bluffed a bunt. missing. Trevor Hildenberger getting loose in the Twins pen. 15 pitches for Parker, only 5 strikes. And 2 wild pitches and a walk off the plate. Yeah, it was a 2-0 ball game here on Thursday. This is a tight ball game again, and that's kind of been the history in recent years between these two teams. A lot of games decided by 1 or 2 runs. In fact, over the last 4 years, as good as the Indians have been and as disappointing as the Twins have been, they only lead the Twins 39-37 coming into this year. There's a pop-up down the right field line. Kepler with room, making a foul. No, he dropped the ball. A foul ball. It's a foul ball, but Kepler couldn't make the catch.
The wind really pushed that ball. You can see it from where we watched the game. You can see the flags blown across, and it started almost right at him. I mean, you look at him, he was 20-25 feet from the line and just kept drifting on him. And very fortunate that that was in foul territory when that happened, because that would have been another run that would be hard to come back off of Brad Hand, one of the top closers in the league.
Perez will have another swing. It's a 2-2 count. Anyway, the Twins win on Thursday. Now, in the last 4+ years, the matchup between the two teams, the Indians with 39 wins, the Twins with 38. Missing inside.
And that'll tell you, you're supposed to beat the teams you need to beat. You know, the rebuilding teams. There's been quite a few in this division the last few years. If you play well against Cleveland, theoretically you should be able to play well against a rebuilding Chicago or a rebuilding Kansas City. You need to take care of business against those teams as well.
Full count. Chopper to short. Polanco has it. And now over to first. Indians get a run on the top of the ninth. The Twins will start with Byron Buxton in the bottom. He's got the first run of the game in the 4th. The Twins immediately answered. They'll need to do that now in the 9th inning. And Byron Buxton will lead things off against Brad Hand. But first, Sunday, NASCAR heads to Texas Motor Speedway, where Kyle Busch looks to continue his hot start. It's all Sunday at 2 on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Allen taking over in left field after delivering the go-ahead run on a fly ball. And Brad Hand, obtained last year from the Padres, is now the Indian closer. From Chaska High School.
This is a tough task with these shadows and with his stuff. You need to find a way to get Byron Buxton on base, because he can create a whole lot of problems for a defense and a pitcher and catcher, how they call pitches. When he's on first base, you might see more fastballs as a hitter. It just changes the whole complexity of the inning.
One of the ways to get on might be the push bunt up the right side. Down and in, ball 1. To combat that, Indians have Santana, the first baseman, about 30 feet off the bag. Left-hander Hand naturally falls toward the third base line. If you could drop the ball, roll it in no man's land, Buxton would beat Santana to the bag. Popped up, right side. Miller retreating. And can't make the play. Buxton goes to second.
That's a double.
He was playing with his back to the sun to shield his vision, but he was struggling from the outset, and the fastest man in the league is at second base with nobody out.
And the same wind that we saw in the last half inning to Kepler also affected that ball. Anytime you see an infielder backpedaling like that, it becomes very difficult, and it looks like Naquin didn't see it at all in right field. So that's a huge break right there for the Twins.
That was Moroff, the shortstop. And so now Buxton at second. Top of the order now, Max Kepler. Lefty against lefty. And the splits favored Kepler against left-handed pitchers a year ago. Fastball on the outside corner.
And that's a good take right there from Kepler. You're saying, okay, he just took a strike. Well, it was a fastball away. If he makes it out on the first pitch right there, he wants to make it out on the right side of the field, get Buxton to third base, move up the runners. You can't make it out and not a productive out. If you're going to swing at something right there, you're going to be aggressive to something you want.
Perez with a nice dig, 1-1. Kepler 2 years ago was really good against righties, struggled against lefties, and last year he was decent against lefties and struggled against righties.
Which is hard to understand, but you're happy with the improvement off a lefty. Now you get back to what you did against righties, and all of a sudden you're looking at an all-star.
Trying to have a productive at bat. 1-1. Over the Cleveland dugout, 1-2.
He looked like he might have got the pitch to pull right there. He just fouled it back and missed it.
You'd never know it the way the Indians are playing him. StatCast AI powered by AWS. They're giving Kepler the entire right field corner with the right fielder Naquin playing in right center field. 1-2. Oh, what a stop by Perez.
Wow.
A magnificent stop on a pitch that might have been wide of the right-handed batter's box. Wow.
And what you lose offensively by trading Yan Gomes, the reason you're comfortable with him behind the plate is because he's able to do this. There's very few guys that can block a ball like that in the other batter's box and keep it in front of him with the fastest base runner in the league and keeping him at second base. That's a terrific play behind the plate right there.
If that ball kicks laterally just a few feet at all, Buxton standing at third. Now 2-2 to Kepler. And a breaking ball got him, 1 down. One down, and now the switch hitter Polanco will back.
And you can tell he's thinking pull right there, looking to get him over, and ends up chasing a tough slider and not getting the job done. And we saw it earlier, Cleveland didn't get the job done in one of those situations. They end up getting the big hit to go up 2-1. Now you're going to need a big hit driving the run. All you got to do is get it to the outfield grass, and Buxton can score on pretty much anything.
Swallowed, strike 1. Back 0-2. The irony of this threat is the middle infielders for the Indians were so good in the 7th and the 8th inning. Then what looked to be a sure out to start the 9th wasn't handled well. The Twins have their speediest runner at second base now with 1 out. Nobody's hoping for Hand to preserve this lead more than Moroff. 2 strikes to Polanco. Another nice stop by Perez.
You can see sometimes it's tough to make it out on third base. At third base, stealing right here this late in the ball game. But where you can advance is the ball in the dirt. You know, if you happen to figure out what signs they're using, you can anticipate a breaking ball coming right here. You get a good read on it. You take off. He might keep it close to him, but if you know that breaking ball is coming with 2 strikes, more than likely it's going to be in the dirt.
And fouled off the fastball. just 2 hits in the game. Pop fly double by Buxton to start this inning, and Polanco's 1-out triple in the 4th off the fence in right center field. Center field, slicing away from Martin, but he makes the catch. Buxton will advance to 3rd. The importance of the Kepler strikeout, unable to advance the runner. And so Buxton on the deep fly to the gap is just now at 3rd base. And Carl Willis to the mound with Nelson Cruz coming up next, backed up by Eddie Rosario.
Always interesting, these meetings as a hitter, standing there and watching the pitching coach go out. I would always try and mentally prepare myself to be ready to hit. You don't know if this meeting is, hey, you've got a base open, don't give him anything to hit, or you don't know if it's go right at him, you got good stuff, take your chances. So mentally as a hitter, you're standing there, you don't think, okay, don't chase, or they're not going to give me anything to hit right here. You say, I'm going to give myself my pitch, and if I get it, I'm not going to miss it. And you mentally prepare yourself to hit. You try and be a little more disciplined, understanding that there's a base open, left-handed hitter on deck, but you know, you go through this mental preparation, this mental game of getting yourself locked in, no matter what the situation is, to try and win the ballgame right here.
Will intentionally walk Nelson Cruz to get Rosario to the plate.
And that answers our question.
It's interesting, the Indians got their run in the top half of this inning in part because of some wild pitches by Blake Parker, and that the Indians are still in front because Roberto Perez has handled a couple of hands pitches that were in the dirt. So there is that too with Buxton at 3rd.
Also kind of surprised that they're not pinch running right here, down by 1 in the 9th inning with the winning run on base. Ball in the gap, you want the guy to be able to score right here.
Lefty against lefty, and they're both really good at their craft. Ball 1. Rosario's put the ball in play 3 times. You can see left-handed, right-handed, underhanded. It doesn't matter to Eddie. 2-0. Crone on deck. Now the Twins have some options on the bench. Jake Cave, Ray Adrianza, speedy runners. Not just that Cruz is a go-ahead run, but in the event of a force play at second base, Cave could figure to be a step or 2 ahead of.
Well, the other thing it does, it possibly forces Santana to hold him on at first base,
right,
giving him less range. When you're able to play behind the runner, you're able to take away a lot more ground.
2-0 to Rosario. Ooh, fooled on the pitch. And the Twins are lucky. Rosario's lucky it's just a foul ball. It could have been dribbled in front of the mound or in front of home plate. 2-1.
They don't look like they're interested in giving him too much to hit. That meeting might have been, we're going to walk him and then don't give in. And we'll try and get him to chase. We know he's an aggressive hitter. All he wants to do is win the ballgame right here, or at least tie it up. Feed off his aggressiveness, so he's got to stay disciplined right here, get something he wants to hit.
3-1. They're pitching the dirt. Balls that Perez has had to handle for the most part have been easy blocks or catches. But that one and the Kepler at bat, as much as anything else, has kept this a 2-1 ball game. 3-1 to Rosario. And now the Twins will pinch run K for Cruz with a full count. And see where the Indians place Santana.
I'll be surprised if he throws him a fastball right here. He showed him that he didn't really want to give in. You show him the one fastball and a 3-1 count. You threw him a 2-0 breaking ball. You go with whatever your best pitch is, and he's shown that he wants to throw him a slider right here.
Full count to Rosario. Ball 4, and they're loaded up for C.J. Cron. In the inning, the pop fly double, an intentional walk, an unintentional walk, and they're loaded up. And Rosario in his last at bat had a 3-0 count, ended up hitting a little fly ball to left. Here he was able to take the walk. And now, with Cave at second, a hit to the outfield could be a game winner. Cron has struck out twice, hit a one-hop smash that Miller turned into a double play when the Twins were threatening in the 7th. Big swing and a miss. Strike 1.
He got the fastball he was looking for. Just missed. You hope that's not the only pitch he's going to get to hit this at bat.
One of the reasons the Twins jumped on Cron when he was available. Really good against lefties. Popped up right side. And it's Naquin who finishes off a 2-1 Cleveland win. Twins with a threat in the 7th and a threat in the 9th, but just the one run on the board, and this series now is even a 1 apiece.
It was a tough day to be a hitter. Weather's not going to be a whole lot better tomorrow, but Twins have a chance to win the series against the team they're most likely going to battle for the division with.
Well, the Indians got a run on the top of the 9th and ended up beating the Twins 2-1. Another well-pitched, low-scoring game, and we'll cover it all on Twins Live coming up next.